that'll do it. Jets beat the Blues 4-2 tonight in Winnipeg. Blues allow 30 shots on goal for the 5th consecutive game, and the record drops to 500 at 2-2-1.
Let's get nasty on a Wednesday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers live from Calgary this time as the Blues continue their Canadian road trip. You heard Chris Kerber on the call there last night. Unfortunately, the Blues fall to the Jets 4-2, and as Kerbs mentioned, Binnington faced 29 shots in the loss, allowed the 3 goals against the Jets, and an overall disappointing game, Jamie, save for Pavel Buchnevich, who did return following the upper body injury, and he registered a goal and an assist in his comeback. But let's start off with some of the things that you talked about in your keys to victory last night, Jamie, including the ozone possessions. You wanted to see this team as best as possible start fast. You knew it was going to be tricky with a tough environment being in Winnipeg and the way that the Jets usually they usually fire out of the gates with that home crowd. But last night, shots on goal problem, offensive ozone possession also an issue.
Time of possession has been an issue for most of the season right now for the Blues. I think that, the Pittsburgh game was definitely their best effort. And I would say the Dallas game was pretty good too. But look, we knew that the Winnipeg Jets come out very fast here at home. It's just a small arena. It's just a crazy environment. So the Blues had to be ready to respond immediately. Before we dive into some of the nuances of the game, which is the ozone, time of possession, things like that, as a team, you didn't have your best effort, and you still were in a spot where you could win a hockey game. And I think that that's the part that probably makes coaches go crazy, because you play even or better in the first period. We talked about that being a very important thing last night for the Blues. And then you give up 2 goals in 18 seconds in the second period, and you think to yourself, woof, that's not good. Craig Berube calls a timeout, has a little talk with the boys, and then they go out, score their first power play goal before the end of the second period. First power play goal of the year before the end of the second period. So you're down by 1 now, headed into the third period on the road. Quite honestly, that's not the perfect scenario, but that's a livable scenario to where you're like, hey, you know what? We come back, we score a goal in the third period, even this thing up, and then it's in the trenches for the rest of the way. Maybe we squeak out a point, maybe we get 2. Not our best game, still a good road point. But that didn't happen. You came out and you had some lapses in coverage in the third period. You're 4-on-4 with the Winnipeg Jets, and you just gave the puck away in your own zone. There was no resistance. I don't understand how it happened, but it did, and the puck ends up in the back of your net. You're down 3-1 at that point, but you still managed to pull the goalie and go score a goal. You're down by 1 with a couple minutes left in the game. This is a very attainable point for your team, and you didn't get it done. You couldn't keep the puck in at the offensive blue line, and then in the neutral zone, you got a couple of guys swinging through there trying to poke at the puck instead of burying the player at that point and making sure that player can't score. You end up losing the game on the road. And then now when you look at the body of work, when you start to unpack everything to do with that game, it doesn't look great. You give up a lot of shots again, and your offensive time of possession was minimal. It really was. And like, the scary thing is, Anthony, is that Jordan Kyrou had 2 breakaways. And if he scores those goals, we're talking about something completely different right now. We're talking about, wow, not your best game, but boy, big win on the road. Way to start the road trip.
Sure.
But you didn't score those goals. Connor Hellebuck was barely tested in the third period. I think the Blues had 4 shots on goal in the third period. It's just not enough right now. You can see it throughout the game where there's decisions that the players can make to have more sustained pressure in the offensive zone, yet they're looking for something different. Pavel Buchnevich scores a goal last night, and it was great to have him back in the lineup.
Off a tip from Schenn.
Yeah, on a tip from Schenn. I mean,
or assist, I should say.
They make a big impact on the game, but in the third period, Pavel Buchnevich had the puck on his stick all by himself with the goaltender, and he decided to try pass, and it didn't work. And so then the Jets get the puck and start playing offense the other way. So it's not so much that the team is not physically able to do things, because they are. It's a talented bunch. It's a hardworking bunch. Right now, it's just a mental block to where they're looking for something that isn't there. And I think if they simplify the game a lot more, they'll have more sustained time in the offensive zone, and everybody gets to play offense, and everybody has a chance to score some goals and to create some havoc. Right now, man, it's very little time in the offensive zone. It's just not good enough.
Well, is it a situation, Jamie? I feel like this has happened before with the Blues, and I feel like this was a topic of conversation last season where they would almost make that one extra pass instead of shooting, or they would fire one point blank at the goaltender as opposed to having when nobody was in front of the net. It's like whatever the simple road was, or the simple option was, or the one that was just the right one to take, they would go the opposite way. So they were always working against themselves last season. I don't know if that's a system thing. I don't know if that's a coaching thing, a coaching point, or it's just the players maybe putting too much pressure on themselves, given in an individual play. But it seems to be when you're talking about that, it's like whatever the play is that they need to make, they kind of go the opposite route.
Yeah, so let's make things pretty clear here, okay? It's not a systems thing.
Yeah.
It's not a coaching thing. It's a player decision thing. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. And when you're watching it, it comes down to simply the player is choosing to make a different play. And I know for a fact that the coaching staff is stressing that they need to drive more offense towards the net. And what happens sometimes is, as you're trying to figure it out, you start to make plays that you wouldn't ordinarily make. So let's just break down Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas, those two players for 1 second here. And last night there were a couple of occasions where they were out by the blue line or out by the boards where really wasn't an optimal decision to shoot the puck on net. Mm-hmm. Yet they did. But you can tell they're choosing to shoot the puck on net because the coaching staff is trying to pound it home that you need to get more pucks on net. Problem is they're deciding to do it at the wrong time.
Sure.
So a wrist shot from the blue line from, however far away it is with nobody in front, well, that's just a giveaway because the goalie's going to stop that, move the puck to his defenseman. They're going to try and get a clean breakout out of it. The shot from the corner to the net is just a giveaway because the goalie's going to block that and move it away, and away they go. So there is an effort there to at least try to get more pucks to the net. But then when they get not all the time, sometimes when they get inside the house, they're passing it out of the house to somebody who they think has a better scoring opportunity, which is not the case. Like if you're inside the house, inside that danger area, you are the most dangerous player on the ice with the puck.
Stay there.
And you got to shoot the puck there. You got to get bodies there. And I actually think that Jake Neighbors and Torpchenko were two of the Blues' best players last night. They got elevated in the lineup. They did a great job of getting in on the forecheck. Jake Neighbors drew 2 penalties. Torpchenko drew 1 penalty. But what were they doing? They were playing straight ahead hockey, getting the pucks in deep, putting bodies to the net, and getting pucks to the net. Now, you don't want to see, Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou necessarily lower their skill level, but at the same time, incorporating some of the basic things that you can do in hockey, just getting the pucks to the net with speed and bodies, that can go a long way too, because right now they're just not generating enough. They're just not. And it's not a systems thing, it's a players thing.
Well, whatever it's going to take to get them back on track, that needs to happen. It is good to see Pavel Buchnevich come back and have an impact, though, right away. This goes to the conversation that we had when he went out. He's a difficult one to replace because he impacts multiple parts of the game. But even more than that, Jamie, he extends your lineup. So last night he was on the Schenn line. I had it reversed, by the way, with the first goal. I said Schenn was going to score the first goal off the deflection from Buchnevich. I should have reversed it and had Buchnevich as the first goal last night. So I was close, Jamie.
I had Kyrou, who only had 2 breakaways in the second period.
It happens, Jamie. It happens. But having Pavel Buchnevich in your lineup, you now have the ability to roll a couple of lines and have that fourth line be what it is for Craig Berube, kind of the blank disturbing line. So you got your scoring, it's balanced. You hope that Kyrou is your main goal scorer, and I think he will when it's all said and done. But the strength of this team offensively should be that ability to roll your three lines, feel good about having goal scorers on each one of them, and then having that fourth line do what it does. And sometimes, as we know, Craig Berube will match up with the top lines from other teams when he's at full strength with that fourth line. So it is good to see Buchnevich come back last night. Ultimately, it was a disappointing game, but I'm glad that he's at least back, and he was firing on all cylinders right away.
Yeah, he had a good game. And to your point about the fourth line, I think, had some of the most time of possession in the offensive zone last night. So, it's great to see that. It's awesome to pat those guys on the back for a great job, but really that shouldn't be the case. Your other lines should be dominating more offensively. And last night was just not great for the Blues. I think it was 61% to 39% as far as offensive zone time of possession. Well, for the Jets, 61%. For the Blues, 39%. I mean, you can't win a lot of games in the NHL that way.
No, not at all. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. It is 2:12. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Blues off tonight. They'll play tomorrow night in Calgary, 8 o'clock. Blues versus Flames. We'll have all the coverage for you right here on 101 ESPN. Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks pulled off yet another upset. Everybody had the Phillies, especially when they went up 2-0. I thought the Phillies were going to sweep Arizona, and Arizona just keeps trucking along. Is this World Series matchup good for baseball? Probably not. We'll talk about it next on 101 ESPN.
You got a vision for a kitchen or a bathroom upgrade, but you probably don't necessarily know what you're trying to accomplish or what to do even. That was me. I was redoing my kitchen, and I knew I wanted countertops and a backsplash and cabinets, but I had no idea what I was trying to do. So I made it easy on myself. I went down to 6135 Manchester Avenue and visited with my friends over at E&B Granite. It was awesome. You walk into their warehouse or their showroom, and the representative gets up, talks to you, and I explained. I said, look, I want to do nice countertops, nice backsplash. She had a great idea of taking the countertop to the wall and then using a part of the countertop as the backsplash. It was awesome. Then we walked in the back and saw all of the different kinds of countertops that were available, from granite to quartz to marble and even soapstone. I settled on quartz. It was fantastic. The installation was seamless. They did a great job, answered all of my questions. I was thoroughly satisfied, and it looks amazing right now. So I highly suggest that you visit them or schedule an appointment with them. Tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. That number's 314-645-9300. That's 314-645-9300, or you can visit them at enbgranite.com.
fly ball to right field. Over is Carroll. He's got it. And the Arizona Diamondbacks are headed to the World Series. The Diamondbacks have won the National League pennant. And the Fall Classic will return to the desert for the first time in 22 years. The comeback Diamondbacks, the answer backs. 2 comeback wins in games 3 and 4. And down in this series, they come back, win 4 of the last 5. And Arizona will represent the National League in the World Series.
He sounded as happy, Jamie, as Major League Baseball executives are right now with the Diamondbacks and Rangers in the World Series. Congratulations to the Diamondbacks. Nobody had them. Nobody had them going very far.
Well, you didn't have them?
did.
I'm sorry,
When
Marsh.
did you have them, Marshy?
Yeah, when?
I said they would win. I said they would win the series
When?
like 2 weeks ago.
Did you?
Yes,
Was Jamie and I on the show when you said this?
absolutely.
Did you say it on air?
I did.
It's a lot.
Hopefully, the text line can back me up on that.
You said the Diamondbacks would upset the Phillies.
I said I think the Diamondbacks will win this series.
I thought it was a joke. I even wrote it down in my diary. I said, Marsh had something funny to say today.
I said I don't think they'll sweep. It'll be a close series. I think they might win this win the World Series.
Win the series, win the
series.
NLCS.
Win the NLCS.
Wow. Nice
I mean,
call.
it could have been a joke, but hey,
But you said it.
I said it.
On air. Good work, kid. Good work.
It may have been a joke that came to fruition.
Yeah.
What the hell?
The Cardinals are going to win the World Series next year.
Had it.
Yeah.
Absolutely
The
had it.
Cardinals and the Blue Jays in the World Series.
No
How's that
doubt.
working
If the
out?
White Sox don't get there first, know what I mean?
Let's not go too far now.
Okay. Yeah, congratulations, Arizona, man. They went through Milwaukee with the pitching. They went through the Dodgers, blasted them, and then trailing in the NLCS against a star-studded, absolutely loaded Phillies team. They went through them like, a hot knife through butter in the final 4 or so games, including a comeback. So, not only in the series, but just, what was it, Game 5 I think they had to come back in? The Diamondbacks are that fun team. Yeah, they're a fun team.
Not fun.
If you're going up against, like, Houston, I don't think the Texas Rangers are unlikable, Jamie. I find them to be quite likable. You don't have a villain in this World Series this year. So if we're talking, I think if you're talking about national viewpoints, yes, absolutely. I think this is going to be one of the lowest drawing World Series in MLB history.
Wow, that's a bold prediction, Cotton.
You don't
okay.
have the markets. Texas is a big market, but Arizona is not. So you don't really have the markets. What's the storyline?
Well, I think the storyline's easy. The 2 storylines are simple, Anthony. You have a franchise that's never won a World Series, and you have the ultimate underdog that's got to the World Series. So the 2 storylines are there. Like, the one team has never won it, ever, Bob. And then the other team wasn't even supposed to be good this year. From what I remember, it was like, especially in that division, they had the Dodgers, they had the Padres, they had the Giants, and then they had the lowly Diamondbacks, right?
Right.
Well, the lowly
and then 10
Diamondbacks
feet of crap,
won the World
and then the Rockies.
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to go there. It wasn't worth my time, to be honest. For time purposes, I thought I'd ignore them, okay? But so I think the storylines are there. Now, are you, does it get you all excited, Anthony? Does it make you all hot and bothered? Probably not. Probably not you. You're tough nut to crack that way. It takes a lot to get you going.
Jamie, I think what you just illustrated there from a storyline standpoint was spot on, man. I think you nailed it. That is the storyline. You're absolutely right. My question to you is, does this series get you all hot and bothered? Because I know you too. I don't think you're tuning in outside of the fact that we do a radio show.
That's not true.
Outside of the fact that we're going to talk about it, you're not all hot and bothered. Jamie's not going for the bourbon on this one. There's no way.
Wait. I might go for extra bourbon on this one.
You're going
just
for
to
the
make it
bourbon.
interesting.
But you're not. Look, I've heard you say Thursday. I heard you say this on a Commanders-Bears Thursday night game. Nobody else was home. I was like, yeah, let me get some football in. And it was Commanders-Bears, which barely qualifies as football.
It was so bad.
You haven't even said that yet for this World Series.
No. I'm actually, honestly, that's very good, too. I'm actually excited for the Texas Rangers. I really am. You know, the Diamondbacks, I mean, I don't care. I don't really know a lot of their players apart from the headliners and their no-name bullpen and all that. Like, I'm not disrespecting the team because they are the ultimate underdog right now. Mm-hmm. But I am excited to see the Texas Rangers win, if they can pull it off, because I thought the Phillies would annihilate the Diamondbacks. I thought the Dodgers would annihilate the Diamondbacks. They're just hanging around, and they won't go away. So, but no, from a fan perspective,
yeah,
I think I would really like to see the Texas Rangers win for a couple of reasons. One, they've never won it before, and two, they spent a whole boatload of money. That means that, guess what? You know, it's a copycat world sometimes. So maybe something close to home starts to spend a little more money.
Or you look at the Diamondbacks and you say,
no,
you just got in. You just got to get in.
No.
And then play your best baseball.
I hate your story.
Tell me the front office isn't that. See? This is what we've been talking about.
This is how we do it.
We've had it right all along. This is what we're talking about. Looking over the fact that Zach Gallen has been great, and their rookie Brandon Pfaadt has been great, and Merrill Kelly has been serviceable, and the bullpen has stepped up, as you noted, and they got a couple of young guys that have produced into, like, Corbin Carroll's a super, like he's an emerging superstar. Looking over all that, damn well the front office is going to look at the Cardinals front office is going to be, hey, this is why we say just get in. You never know.
Remember 06?
Remember 06? Remember 11? Just got in. It's the credo that won't die for this Cardinals team.
The credo. How about Creed now having a resurgence because of the Texas Rangers? I saw a video of Scott Stapp at the baseball diamond. All of a sudden, he's buddies with his old bandmates who can't stand him.
Well, the Vikings have been listening to him.
Records.
The Vikings are listening to Creed now, and they got a 2-game win streak.
There you go. It is all about Creed. All we need is Scott Stapp, who went away for a long time, to get that ego going again. That's all.
Oh, no, it doesn't take long. Do you see his video?
No,
He's already on top of it. He's got the hair all slicked back, doing the rock and roll fingers, like he's the man again. Oh, Jesus, Scott, enough.
Can you take me higher? That's all we need.
Your bandmates left and made a better band without you called Alter Bridge.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact. Alter Bridge is solid. All right, we'll get back to the World Series Game 1. Starts on Friday. So the World Series will start on Friday. Diamondbacks and Rangers. Okay. Power play. Hey, you got a power play goal last night. Also want to ask Jamie about Jake Neighbors.
Let's celebrate that.
And what he has seen out of Jake Neighbors thus far. That's next in the Fast Line on 101 ESPN.
Selling your home can be a very stressful process. A couple things. One, you may not know what upgrades you need to have done to your home to sell it quicker. You may not know what price range to list your home in. And you may think to yourself, well, is the holidays a good time to list my home? Stop worrying about that stuff. Call Gloria Lou. Call the expert. Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will tell you right now that the holidays is just fine to sell your home. And she's also got the buyers for you. That's the best part about Gloria Lou is she has a database with thousands of ready buyers that are going to create a lot of traffic to your listing and hopefully, multiple offers and more money in your pocket at the end of it all. Selling houses needs options too, from whether it's cash offers or closing dates or whatever you want. Gloria Lou has several different great options. My favorite is the guaranteed sales. Gloria will sit down with you, the seller, and figure out the sales price for your home, and you guys will agree upon the sales price. And if she'll have to sell your home for that price, or she buys it herself and she guarantees that in handwriting. So please call Gloria Lou. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you. That number's 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on the price as well as the possession date.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues lost to the Jets last night by a final score of 4-2. We'll talk with head coach of the Blues, Craig Berube, at 3:30, and our Blues insider from The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, at 4:30. So stay tuned for those interviews. The Blues will take on the Flames tomorrow. We'll have the pregame and puck drop for you right here on 101 ESPN. And last night, Game 7 of the NLCS, the Diamondbacks defeated the Phillies 4-2. The Rangers will host the D-backs on Friday, Game 1 of the World Series. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. It's a fast line on 101 ESPN. So the power play got its first goal last night, Jamie.
Sure did.
Did you see anything differently structurally, or was it just what had been implemented in training camp and preseason just coming to fruition?
No, what I saw different was a goal. Which
see what happens. What happens is when you get on the power play, you want to score a goal, and the Blues hadn't done that yet. And last night, the difference was they actually scored. That's Jamie. I'm gonna write that down. Yeah, score goals on the power play. Make it count.
Anthony, about you, you're always learning.
Yeah,
always pushing yourself.
No doubt.
Yeah. So no, look, the power play for me still has work to do. Obviously, I think that. You only have one power play goal so far this season. You're not going to sit there and celebrate that. But I did see a little bit different mindset last night from the power play, which I enjoyed. They're moving the puck a lot quicker. You could tell they were way more assertive, and their execution was better. They still only ended up with one goal, and they had several power plays. But there's a way that you look at a power play. So if we look back at the first couple of games, even the first three. You looked at the power play and it was like, woof, how are we going to get this going? Now it's not like that. Now you see the direction the power play is headed in. They're developing a little bit more chemistry. The breakouts are better. The zone entries could be a little cleaner. At times, I think they're passing up, chipping it in and sending two guys after the puck. They're passing that up for something a little fancier, or sometimes they're chipping the puck in and it's one guy going after the puck, and then it's a 50-50 puck battle with the opposition. I don't like those percentages. If I'm on the power play and I have an extra player and I chip the puck to an area, I want a 70-30 percentage for my guys to retrieve that puck. So I think there's improvement certainly to be had there. But they're throwing more pucks to the net. You could see clearly that they're moving the puck with a purpose. And last night, I thought Jordan Kyrou, Torrey Krug, Braden Shen, Pavel Buchnevich, I thought they did a great job. On the actual goal that happened, there was some movement by the players. Krug made a nice pass to Kyrou. He fires it underneath the stick to Braden Shen. And then the subtle things in the game is I really, really love the subtle things in the sport of hockey where there's a high hockey IQ involved. And having been on the call here, you get to really notice these things. So Braden Shen gives a quick look as he's getting the puck. He sees that Pavel Buchnevich is in the middle of the penalty kill diamond. And Pavel Buchnevich gives a quick shoulder check to see how close the defenseman is from the Winnipeg Jets. He realizes that he's not that close, so he subtly moves out just a bit, and Braden Shen fires that laser pass off of his stick to shot pass redirect top corner. I mean, the sport of hockey sometimes is fun to watch that way. When it's executed at its highest level, you're like, holy crap, man. Like, these guys are good. Things are happening fast and they're executing things so well. So that's the positive of it, is that they got some good looks overall in the game, and that power play was very successful. But there's still work to do. And, I'm bringing up, we just brought up some of the puck retrievals. I still think that early on in the power play, there are times where they're complicating it when they don't need to. And what I mean by that is trying to make the bigger, better play. I say that a lot here in the last handful of games, but you can see it. The opposition isn't wore down at all yet. And when you're trying to make a quick pass through the box, the diamond, that's not a difficult play for the opposing team to get a stick on or get a body on. So I'd like to see them possess the puck for longer periods of time. I'd like to see them jump to openings of availability. Because right now, because the Blues only have one goal in all their power plays so far this season, there's no respect from the other teams.
Sure.
And, it's probably comparable to football, Anthony, when you have a quarterback that you don't respect, you're just going to bring a ton of pressure all the time because you're like, he can't make the decisions quick enough. He can't find the open guy. He can't check down good enough. We're just going to bring the blitz from the inside or the outside or wherever. We're just going to pressure all night long, like Lionel Richie. Well, that's what penalty kills are doing right now to the Blues, is even when they get set up, they're pressuring because they don't respect the Blues' ability to move the puck well enough to create some offense. So now you've got to deal with a ton of pressure which means you should be supporting the puck a little tighter. Get 5 feet away, 6 feet away. And when there's a chip into the corner, you have to have 2 guys. If they have 2 guys, you have to have 3 guys. Like it's power in numbers right now for the Blues. And scoring a couple of goals will certainly remedy all of that. Just one so far, but at least they've got that one out of the way.
So, Jamie, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I know that this player, he's a young guy, and it's like, well, he hasn't scored 400 goals yet, so we need to criticize him. But what have you seen out of Jake Neighbors?
So
in his all-around game.
Yeah, no, Jake Neighbors had an interesting start of the season because, he was supposed to be a top 9 guy, or rather a middle 6 player. And he came out of training camp as a 4th liner. And what I love about Jake Neighbors is that he didn't drag his lower lip on the ground. He wasn't like upset, which he shouldn't be. I mean, he's in the NHL. It's his 2nd season, really, to be a part of it. But he just puts such a tremendous amount of work into practice and into games, and he does exactly what the team needs him to do. He really does remind me of an Ivan Barbashev or a lower scale at this point, a Braden Shen. He's got those same qualities. And watching him last night in particular, you could tell that him and Alexei Toropchenko as well. I have to kind of put these guys together because they just started running around in a very positive way. They were getting in on pucks. They were finishing checks on the forecheck. I talked about it earlier. Toropchenko used his speed, cut through, drew a penalty. Could have maybe been a penalty shot, maybe a stretch, but still drew a penalty. And then Jake Neighbors drew 2 penalties in that game. So these 2 guys who were 4th liners, earmarked to play 7, 8 minutes, maybe 9, drew 3 penalties for your hockey club, gave you 3 opportunities to score goals because of their hustle. And what Coach Berube ended up doing is elevating them within the lineup. And we talked about it in the booth last night. I said to John Kelly, I said, he has to move those guys up. He has to. They're making a difference. And not that I know what I'm talking about or that I'm Coach Craig Berube, but it was just very noticeable to me. And sure as albeit, he elevated them. They end up flanking the sides of Kevin Hayes and continuing to get out there and do damage. So I'm interested to see, where Chief goes from here because you're more than just a couple games into the season now, and you've had a couple of games that you'd like back, the Arizona game for sure, and last night I think the team would really probably want that game back, and you end up elevating 2 4th liners in that game, and those guys did a lot of good work for you. So where do they end up ultimately? Where are they tomorrow night here in Calgary in the lineup? And do you see a shakeup on defense? Do you see a shakeup at all in the lineup up front? Does Alexandrov get in? Sammy Blais didn't get a lot of ice time last night towards the second half of the game. Does he drop down? Does Jake Neighbors take his spot? Who knows at this point, right? Because the practice happened today. There were meetings that went on, not serious meetings, just the regular player-coach meetings, just digesting the night before. So we'll see what Craig Berube does with his lineup. But right now, what I really, really like is that Toropchenko and Jake Neighbors in particular are making their case to be elevated in the lineup and showing Craig Berube that they're able to play the kind of game that he needs them to play for this team to be successful. And it's evident. When they're on the ice, you can tell they're on the ice. And what have I said before? It's a tough night when the announcers don't say your name hardly at all. That means you're not playing very well. I mean, you haven't done anything.
Sure. And
there were a couple of guys here in the last couple of games where we haven't heard their names an awful lot. But 2 guys that we've heard their names a lot is Neighbors and Toropchenko. So we'll see where that ends up tomorrow night here in Calgary.
Is it, not calling certain guys out, but is it eyewash, Jamie? I've heard you refer to it as eyewash, and not from the standpoint from any of the players who we haven't heard their names thus far.
Oh no, there's eyewash out there. There is some maybe not eyewash. I shouldn't use that yet, but there are some guys I think that believe they're playing better than they are right now, and I think there might be some guys that think they should be getting more of an opportunity, even though they don't deserve it. And I think that's got to regulate itself here in a hurry, because you've got other guys who are playing above and beyond what they're even being asked to do. And I feel like those guys, if you're going to make sure that you keep the culture in check, keep the team motto in check, I feel like it's like the old if you hit, you play for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
For me right now is if you play the way we need you to play, you'll be elevated and get more minutes. I think that's the way to go about it.
So if we start to see some ice time dwindling for certain players, then we'll know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, pick your horse, Anthony. You can go check out at NHL.com. You can go check out the ice times from last night and probably tell the story for you.
I hear you. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie's live from Calgary tomorrow night. The Blues will take on the Flames. We'll have all the coverage for you right here on 101 ESPN. Play-by-play, and, of course, the post-game, again, right here on the home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. We've got the Stalter Stackup, and we've got a shake-up in the top 5. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Dirt Cheap is your one-stop shop for anything to do with your parties or your get-togethers or the holidays coming up. They've got a huge selection of beer, wine, and all the spirits that you need. And at Dirt Cheap, I can tell you this, they pride themselves on having a vast selection of all of these things, the beer, the wine, the spirits, and they're at prices that help you save. So first of all you have to do is visit your neighborhood Dirt Cheap to browse the huge selection and the unbeatable prices, and make sure while you're there you tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you, please. They love hearing that. And if you're stocking up for the holidays and you're looking maybe at the bourbons, that's right, that's a little soft spot for me, the bourbons. Well, Dirt Cheap's got everything from Jack Daniels to Elijah Craig to Bullet, even Angel's Envy, which is, woof, that's some good stuff. And it's all going to be at a great price for you. And don't forget, you can also download the Dirt Cheap app. Make your life very, very convenient. And they've got great deals and specials and giveaways and all sorts of things on the app. You can also order your alcohol and pick it up drive-through. Each Dirt Cheap is offering a drive-through service right now in order to make things easy for you. So please visit my friends over at Dirt Cheap. Get everything you need. And remember, have fun, but be careful out there.
It's time for the Stalter Stackup. The top 10 teams in the NFL from the mind of Anthony Stalter.
Before we get into the Stalter Stackup, the top 10 in the NFL, we have your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Metallica next Sunday night, November 5th at the Dome at America's Center. Metallica, they're going to be playing a huge no-repeat weekend next Friday and Sunday with 2 different sets and 2 different opening acts. 2-night tickets and single-show tickets are both on sale now, and you can get all the details as well as find a bonus chance to win a pair of free tickets for Metallica now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. Here's how you can win free tickets right this second, though. Now, you do have to be the 101st texter to 314-399-9646. That's our Air Comfort Service text line, so you still have to text this in. However, there's an advantage for those that are watching on the Air Alliance Team YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. Which company is Jamie's mannequin representing right now on our YouTube channel, that Air Alliance Team YouTube channel? What company is Jamie's mannequin representing right now as Jamie is in his hotel in Calgary? You still have to text in, though, to win the free tickets to see Metallica at 314-399-9646. There you have it. So go to our Air Alliance Team 101 ESPN STL YouTube page to check out what mannequin Jamie's wearing.
I mean, what room doesn't come with a mannequin, Anthony?
It's not, honestly, it's not a bad idea when you think about it. I've never seen it in a hotel, but if you, like for you traveling, it makes sense to maybe hang some of your shirts that way.
Really?
Yeah.
A hanger's fine for me.
I mean, look, Jamie, it's not a bad idea. If you don't use it, you don't use it.
Yeah, you're right. It kind of freaked me out last night when I got into the room at about 1:30 in the morning.
Sure.
I looked over and I thought there was a human being in the corner of my room.
Did you go over and try to punch it?
No, I realized that it had no head at first. I thought if it was a ghost, then it would be useless to try and punch it.
Right. You were done at that point.
I was pretty damn tired. I was like, just take me. Whatever you want to do. What's more questionable in this room is the wallpaper behind me, quite honestly.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think it looks nice.
It's loud.
It is loud. Marsh likes it, though, so that's good. All right, let's get into the Stalter Stackup. You guys ready?
Sure.
All right.
Number 10.
Yeah, we're going to start with number 10. We usually start with number 1, but there's a shakeup at the top here. Number 10.
Yeah, baby.
I thought about moving them out because I don't think they played last week, but I'm just going to leave them right in the top 10. Why not? The Houston Texans. The Houston Texans have been better than a lot of us have thought. Now, I think what the conversation where it goes to is who else I could have had at 10. I think a lot of people would say, well, the Bengals are back. We'll see. They have the 49ers this week, and then the 49ers have been struggling. So if the Bengals are really back, maybe they win this game, then surely we got to move them into the top 10. But I'm still out on the Bengals. I don't think the Seahawks have been overly impressive. That was a very unimpressive win last week against Arizona. That was still clunky. Geno Smith hasn't been playing lights out thus far. So could I have Cincinnati there? Yeah. Could I have Seattle there? Yeah. But I still think Houston has been rather impressive. So I'm going to leave them alone at 10. They're on the road this week against Carolina. I'm going to force the Houston Texans to play out of this top 10, like all the other the number 10 teams have basically done since I've started the Stalter Stackup, Jamie. This has been like the cursed spot. The only reason why the Texans are there because they didn't play last week.
Number 9.
Well, I've dropped them just about as far as I can. If I've got to drop them out of the top 10, it means they're going to lose tomorrow night against Tampa. But I do have the Buffalo Bills at number 9. The injuries are the problem. Losing Modano, losing White. We've talked about this. Their defense is highly susceptible now. I would be interested to see, and I think this matchup is coming up pretty soon. I'm really interested to see, Jamie, what happens when the Bills go down to Miami and take on the Dolphins again, because they whipped them last time. But without those two guys for an entire, for a full four quarters, I don't think the Bills have the speed now to match up with Miami. So there's big time issues there. I still think Josh Allen is playing relatively well, but turnovers wind up being a problem. Red zone issues wind up being a problem. But this Bills offense has looked clunky since that London game against Jacksonville. So I got the Bills at number 9.
Number 8.
Got the Dallas Cowboys. They haven't done anything to move out of the top 10 at this point. They didn't play last week, so they didn't really move up. So I'm still hanging on that Chargers victory. Again, Dallas, good team, not great. Dak Prescott, good quarterback, not great quarterback. I think they're going to be kind of in this range moving forward here, and we'll see if they can overcome the Diggs injury once they start to play better opponents again, like the 49ers. 49ers got to them. We'll see what happens when they step up in competition.
Number 7, thank you.
Jamie, I know this pains you, but you're with me on this. I had to drop your Lions. That was ugly. Now,
that was gross.
Now they're banged up. I mean, if you are looking for some excuses, you've got them there.
Like excuses,
I know you don't. But when a team does not practice on a Wednesday before facing a team like the Ravens, to me that's a huge red flag that Dan Campbell looked at his squad and said they're too banged up. So they skipped practice on Wednesday or had like a walkthrough or something, and that was it. So you could tell that the Lions were...
They had it on Sunday, too, the same walkthrough.
They did. They walked through it on Sunday, and Lamar took advantage of them. Still a really good team, though. So I dropped them out of the top 5. I got them at 7, but I still have them over the Cowboys, Bills, and Texans. I respect what they've done thus far.
Number 6.
This is where I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're slowly creeping up. They were slow out of the gates, Jamie, but they went to London, and the London Jaguars found their game. I'm liking their defense a lot. It's kind of like a no-name defense that plays hard, creates some havoc. We know what they have offensively. They can run the ball with ETN and Lawrence, for that matter. And Trevor Lawrence has a slew of weapons in this passing game, from Calvin Ridley to Christian Kirk to Evan Ingram, the tight end. ETN is excellent out of the backfield, too. I wouldn't be shocked if Jacksonville cracks the top 5 sooner rather than later, but I got them at number 6.
5?
I've got the Dolphins here, but I almost put the Jaguars ahead of them. The Dolphins have really had 2 big tests thus far, and they failed both of them. They went to Buffalo and got the brakes beat off of them, and then they went to Philadelphia, and despite having that offense, scored only 10 points. You say, well, they scored 17. Yeah, the defense had 6 of those. So
Do you think they're smoke and mirrors at all, Anthony?
I don't think they're smoke and mirrors. No, I don't.
The 2 good teams that they played against, they fell short big time.
They did, but I just look at that offense and the way that they're going to be a headache for most opponents.
So then why weren't they for those 2 teams?
Philadelphia defensively has the speed and the D-line to overcome what Miami's been. Mike McDaniel's done a great job of hiding his O-line. The passes have been coming out quickly, and they're getting the ball upfield. I was talking about this yesterday, Jamie. The way that they designed, or maybe it was Monday, the way that they designed their routes, Tua is very accurate from that short to intermediate. So when they catch a pass, you'll notice they're already 1 foot upfield. And when you got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and some of these other guys with speed, they're a headache. The Bills had the speed to match up with them, and Miami defensively couldn't get off the damn field. So that was the issue there. On Sunday night, the Eagles defensively were the problem with the offensive line. They just beat them up. And then when the Eagles needed to, they put together that 6-7 minute drive in the second half and really leaned on Miami defensively, and they couldn't get it. It wound up being a situation where they couldn't play catch up. I think it's a fair question to ask, though. Are they smoke and mirrors? I'll say no right now because I still believe in that overall talent. But there's no way around it. The teams that they've beaten thus far have a horrible record. I mean, you're talking about the Giants and the Patriots they've beaten. Chargers have looked horrible. But I still got Miami in the top 5.
Number 4.
This is the biggest jump. I got Baltimore. That's the team we got in the Super Bowl, Jamie. It took them a little while. But Baltimore, I think, is back in that they could be a headache in the AFC. Lamar Jackson, I thought, was playing well before that. Remember, we've had the conversation. He's not putting up eye-popping numbers, but he's been very efficient with this new offense. Well, on Sunday, they really took it to the Lions. I mean, whatever Lamar wanted to do, wide open receivers and tight ends all over the field, he took them apart. And defensively, very quietly, Baltimore leads the league in opponent points per game. They're shutting opponents down. If you look at the Ravens' losses, the Colts, the Ravens shot themselves in the foot. The Steelers, they shot themselves in the foot. Pittsburgh couldn't move the ball. If Lamar merely doesn't throw the pick on that one fade route and they just kicked a field goal instead, they probably beat the Steelers. So their losses thus far have been self-inflicted. I really like Baltimore. I got them at number 4.
Number 3.
Had to move San Francisco down to 3. You drop 2 games. You lose to the Browns. Then you go on the road, and Minnesota is a tougher opponent than, most of the teams that are in 3rd and 4th place right now in their respective divisions. But San Francisco generated 0 sacks on Monday night. You're talking about Bosa and Armstead and Gregory.
That's unacceptable.
You got 0 sacks, Jamie? And the Vikings put the ball in the air like 45 times?
Yeah.
That's tough. I still think when it's all said and done, it'll be the Eagles and 49ers in the title game. But the 49ers just cracked the door open for the Eagles to host that game at Lincoln Financial. So not great there.
Number 2.
I got the Eagles. I got the Eagles at number 2. I don't think they've played their best game thus far. I don't even think that was necessarily their best game against Miami, which goes to show you maybe they are the number 1 team. And when I put this together, I did have them number 1. But I'm gonna give respect to the team that won the Super Bowl last year. So I might as well just jump into number 1 right now.
Okay, number 1.
I got the Chiefs. Defensively, the Chiefs are 3rd in opponent points per play. Their defense is the reason why they haven't lost since week 1 against the Lions. And they didn't have Chris Jones in that game. So maybe if they have him, maybe they eke one out as opposed to losing by a point. And they're undefeated right now. The offense is not fired on all cylinders yet. But they still have the best quarterback in the game, the best head coach in the game, and Travis Kelce has got a girlfriend that so far hasn't taken away from the field, from his on-field play, even though she continues to seek his fame and fortune, which I think is disrespectful.
He's got the Swift bump.
Yeah, he got the Swift bump.
Maybe we should word that different.
Fist bump.
Yeah, no, the Swift bump, Anthony.
Yeah, the Swift bump. The Swifty bump.
Okay.
I think you said it fine. He's bumping Swift.
Well said.
That's
Anthony.
what you said.
Well said.
Right?
No, that's what you said, but I don't disagree.
Okay. We have Blues Q's next.
Good for him.
So if you have a Blues-related question for us, you can text in right now. Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Blues Q's next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Fellas, are you currently using ED meds? If you are, you're probably paying too much money for them. That's right. We all understand that they got the chewy things and the little blue pills and all that stuff. You're paying way too much for that. So please visit my friends at the Medicine Shop in St. Charles. They are your destination for cheap ED meds. And they have the generic called Sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. Prescription is required, but it's less than $2 a pill. You're not going to want to miss out on that. And something else you don't want to miss out on is the fact that they offer free discreet shipping and delivery to your home of any medicines that you require. And they also bring it to your workplace. And it's a math thing. Look, I'm in Canada right now. I can't go to the pharmacy and pick up anything. I don't have to worry about it. It gets delivered to my front door, and it's all taken care of. And you can get the same thing for your home as well. And if you do need the pharmacy, it's a great pharmacy located in beautiful St. Charles. And they got an incredible staff that's going to take care of everything that you possibly need. So please get in there in person. Tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you, and they love hearing that. But if not, you can always visit them online at their website. It's at stcharles.pharmacy. Again, that's stcharles.pharmacy.
Now, it's time for the Fast Lane's Blues Cues.
That's right. Time for some Blues-related questions. If you have them, great. Send them into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. It is 306. Your time check. It's brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Jamie Rivers live from his hotel room in Calgary. I'm Anthony Stalter. By the way, congratulations to Jody from STL. Had the correct answer for the mannequin question. The company that Jamie's mannequin is representing, of course, is Synergy Hockey.
What? How did that get there?
What the?
Wow.
That mannequin knows how to dress. So congratulations to Jody. Got to go see Metallica next Sunday night. We still have tickets to give away each and every show this week. So if you didn't win, get ahead to 101ESPN.com or check out your 101 mobile app for a bonus chance. Time for some Blues Cues.
All right, gentlemen from the 314, do you think Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas are too soft on the puck?
Well, maybe at times. Maybe at times there's puck battles that they can certainly compete a little harder for. But I don't think that's been the theme for them this year. I watched Jordan Kyrou, and specifically, look, every night all eyeballs are on these two because of the contracts and because of the expectations. If we isolate both players just for a second, if you've really watched Jordan Kyrou this year, now the defensive play has not been there all the time, but it has been much better than it has ever been in his NHL career. He's had a number of back checks that have turned into turnovers, where he's made defensive plays, where he's back in the house. Like, we don't highlight those things because they're boring, right? We only highlight those things when the other team scores because he didn't get back fast enough. Mm-hmm. We don't talk a lot about, boy, he really got back and deflected that pass, because it's not something sexy to talk about. But he has done that. And Robert Thomas has been out there multiple occasions on the penalty kill. I don't think these guys are too soft on pucks. I don't think that is the narrative for them. I think that at times when you're a skilled player, you're trying to make skilled plays, And sometimes that looks like you're trying to, that you're maybe a little soft on the puck because you're trying to pull it out gently or make something, really, highly skilled move and it gets picked off rather than just banging the puck off the wall and smashing into the opposition because that looks like you're battling harder for the pucks, right? So I haven't seen them be non-competitive this year. So that's a good thing.
From the 636, I have a question for Blues Q's. Will Chief break up the Thomas Kyrou line and move them due to a lack of offensive production to give the four lines a different look?
I don't think that's coming anytime soon. I think that the marriage of Thomas and Kyrou is what the organization wants. And I think it's what the organization needs. You have your two highest paid, and I know that doesn't equate to anything except for the fact that they're the two highest paid guys, but they're also your highest producing guys. Pavel Buchnevich right there alongside with them, which is why I think at some point you'll see Buch get back to that line because you're going to have to really be top heavy with that lineup. I just don't see him breaking them up unless they go another 5 or 6 games without creating offense, but the fact that they haven't scored doesn't mean they haven't created offense. Robert Thomas, he got himself a goal. And then you've got Jordan Kyrou had 2 breakaways last game and another great opportunity and an assist on the power play. So it's not like they're not creating. They may not be creating at the pace or the level that we want as Blues fans. We want 3-4 goals a game from these guys. I get it. But they're still creating offense. And I would give them a little more time here and have some more patience with these two as they work their way through some things.
From the 314, Jamie, I know you weren't able to watch it, but what have people around the league been saying about the Frozen Frenzy?
Yeah, so I managed to catch a piece of it just because as the game's going on, we have the intermissions and you fire up the old tablet and you take a look at some things. And I think people love it. I really do. Look at John Butchiegrass. He's an awesome dude. He's a huge hockey fan, and he literally said it himself. Look, there's really no plan for this. We don't really know what direction to go with it because it's unprecedented with the sport of hockey. With the red zone, it's easy. Team gets inside the 20-yard line. Hey, we go out to Denver right now. It's easy. With hockey, how do you really decipher when you're going to pan from one game to the next? Certainly power plays and empty nets where the goalies are pulled, like those things are obvious. So I think the folks at ESPN and Bucci himself and people are still ironing out some things, but I really like the concept. I know that the league, the teams, and the players weren't really fond of stacking 16 games all at staggered times so that you had some puck drops at like 8:30, 8:40 at night, like not necessarily ideal. So maybe they can have the Frozen Frenzy on nights where there's even like 7 games, and so that we can kind of manage it a little bit better. But I like it. Anytime you can promote the game of hockey and get eyeballs on NHL highlights is good for me.
From the 636, when Jamie was playing hockey, which pop star came to all of his games?
Oh, wow. Well, we didn't have pop stars. We had some actresses come to the games, I'll tell you that much. Alyssa Milano was a big hockey fan, for sure. And Pamela Anderson, big hockey fan. And a few other ones back then, too. Nikki Ziering, you remember her from Baywatch?
Yeah.
She was a big hockey fan. Yeah. So we had some actresses and stuff come through there that were big hockey fans.
That's good, Jamie. That's real good.
Yep.
Last one here from the 618. How is Kevin Hayes been fitting in with the club?
The guys love him. His personality is great. He's got a good leadership ability to him. The coaches like him. I think Kevin himself will tell you that he would have liked maybe a little bit better start to the season, a little more offensive production. But, he's still getting used to the systems. He's still getting used to the players, still getting used to Craig Berube. And his line mates have kind of been all over the place a little bit here in the last couple of games. So hopefully he gets settled in here because I do think he has a lot to bring to this team. I feel like this team is still trying to figure out, what the best line combinations are. And when you're not creating a lot of offense, it's tough. It's tough to figure out who should play with who. And sometimes the centerman becomes the victim because you rotate wingers in and out of that line for the player. I look at Braden Shen and Kevin Hayes. They've had a number of different wingers on their line so far this season. So hopefully that'll sort itself out. But Kevin Hayes, the individual, is fitting in really, really well with this team.
All right, that's Jamie Rivers, and that's Blues Cues here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We never did prophecies, and, well, sounded good at the time. We're going to do that now, or next, here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. If you need a ride, but you know your financial situation might not be the best right now and you're worried about financing, don't be, because at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they've got financing options for every single person. Good credit, bad credit, it doesn't matter at Auto Centers, because if you need a vehicle, they're going to finance the car for you. And they do a fantastic job, too, when it comes to giving you a selection, because we're looking for a new ride ourselves in the Stalter household, and we've been looking at online, autocentersnissan.com, not only new vehicles, but also pre-owned vehicles. They've got a great crop of pre-owned vehicles. So if you're looking for a van, a truck, an SUV, maybe a sports car, but you don't want to pay, new prices, no problem. At Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they've got over 600 vehicles. In fact, they got over 700 vehicles on the lot, period. But a lot of them are pre-owned vehicles. Every make, every model, not just Nissan. But if you are looking for a new Nissan, new Nissans there at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. And they've got the 30-day return promise as well as the complimentary lifetime warranty to go along with the new Nissans. So check them out. Check them out tonight, this weekend. Make it a priority for yourself to head out there. They will set you up with a brand new ride. It's Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Tell them Stalter sent you. Marsh, Jamie, what's rule number 1 in the fast lane?
Nobody is safe.
That's correct. Nobody's safe.
Yeah, correct.
It's our motto. One of our mottos.
Mm-hmm.
The other motto, of course, Jamie, is...
We bury the bodies.
We bury the bodies. We're about loyalty here in the fast lane. That's what that's about.
Yep.
But rule number 1, and most importantly, nobody's safe. Jamie, why don't you go ahead and read a text message that we got from earlier from somebody that was very angry from something we said.
Yeah, and confused, apparently. If you missed it, earlier we were talking about how Taylor Swift was a nobody until Travis Kelce started dating her and put her on the map.
Yeah, and that she...
Clearly...
Well, and that she is after his fame and fortune. That's what I said.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, Anthony. Clearly, if anybody has access to any kind of information, you'd realize that it was the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, both are very successful, but Taylor Swift certainly far more successful than probably almost any other human being on the planet right now.
That's correct.
So we got a text from the 618. It says, just a heads up, you misogynistic black. Travis Kelce's girlfriend, in parenthesis, who has a name, Taylor Swift, was doing just fine before him and easily has far more money than he could ever imagine. Just say you're sexist live on the air. Go ahead. Don't be scared. Say it with your chest, you blank. Okay. Someone didn't get the sarcasm and the joke behind it and got very angry at us, Anthony. So we apologize to the 618. One, I apologize that you wasted your time sending that text in and probably feel maybe vindicated right now. I'm not sure. But we're being super sarcastic. That is the joke. She is the megastar, not him. I am sorry for the misunderstanding. I didn't need that. I don't know that needed to be outlined, Anthony.
In what world would anybody think that Taylor Swift would be after Travis Kelce's fame and fortune? They show her more in the Chiefs games than they do him. In one night, she makes his entire contract. My wife, Kristen,
probably makes more.
More. She probably doubles his entire contract. My wife, Kristen, just took our kids to Taylor Swift's movie concert. Not even an actual concert, the movie theater to watch her concert. In what world would you think that we wouldn't understand that she's more popular than he is? Nevertheless, come on the radio and present it that way. I would love to hear this person's reasoning on this. You tune in, you immediately start firing because you can't grasp that we're being sarcastic and so far over the top that it would be ridiculous for Jamie and I to say otherwise.
Yeah.
In what world would somebody who doesn't know Taylor Swift and only knows Travis Kelce somehow still knows that she's more popular and famous and rich than he is? In what world would you think that we wouldn't know that?
Anthony, I don't know, Anthony. It caught me off guard when it popped up and I read it.
Say it.
I was like, yeah. I was concerned for this individual because it was just out there. You know.
I feel like a lot of people on our text line want us to stop talking about Taylor Swift. They probably want us to talk more Mizzou.
Probably.
But, you know, it is what it is.
That's hilarious. And the funny...
Apparently,
yeah, go ahead.
The 314 says that maybe the Swift bump comment didn't help either. But we talk about all the time. We talk about athletes that come on and get the fast lane bump.
Yeah. Why wouldn't Travis Kelce get a Swift bump?
I think, if nothing else, he's earned a Swift bump.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers actually bear it out. He's averaging more yards per game with her at the game than he is when she's not at the game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Analytics. Nice job there, Marsh.
He's getting the bump right there with her, right there in person.
Yes, exactly. When she's there, he's getting that bump.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Jamie. We talk about the fast lane bump. So,
yeah.
Whatever. I do appreciate, though, from a text standpoint, telling us to go ahead, say it. You won't. No, we'll read your entire text and then discuss how you completely missed the joke. Why don't you go ahead and text us back?
Their passion.
Why don't you go ahead and text us back?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either. Okay, prophecies. Maybe. And, well, sounded good at the time, such as that text.
Skip this one.
That text sounded good at the time, Jamie.
Let's stop talking about this one because I don't think I got anything right last week.
Well, Jamie, why don't you go? You know what? We all got Mizzou covering over South Carolina, okay? Not just winning. We said covering. We said it wasn't going to be close, and it wasn't. So that's one of our prophecies. But, Jamie, yeah, you have been carrying us in the NFL Pick'em Challenge. We won again, by the way, over the Rizzuto Show, 5-2. We're going to start to get sloppy here. Jamie, for the first time all season, and we all had rough weeks outside of BT, but we all had rough weeks. But Jamie, this is you're up for your first weekly punishment. So next time you're actually in the United States of America and in our studios, you will be getting your one shot for losing this week. But what were some of your sounded good at the times?
Almost all of them, actually, Anthony. Almost every single game I picked, except for 4. Only getting 4 right, Anthony, that's hard to do. That's difficult. And, Well, one, the 49ers. Yeah, I thought they were going to beat the Vikings. And, of course, Kirk Cousins, who, by the way, can I sidebar for a second here? I kind of touched on this the other day, but I'm still watching the quarterback series as we travel around Canada up here. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I find myself liking Kirk Cousins more than Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins is, it's not that Patrick Mahomes is a bad person. He's a super talented athlete, but Patrick Mahomes likes Patrick Mahomes an awful lot.
What?
Like whenever there's a play, whenever there's a good play, it's like, that's what I do. That's what I do.
He's confident.
I know, but the hockey player is like, it's we, not me. Kirk Cousins is always like, we had a great team. This team is great, and you guys play great. And Patrick Mahomes is, hey, look at me. I'm awesome.
Jamie, have you made it to the wires, the cap with the wires on it on Kirk's head?
Yes.
In the car?
I purchased one of those yesterday off Amazon. I'm looking out my game here.
I think you would really appreciate it. I think the listeners would appreciate it, that data.
You know what I was blown away by is the amount of things that these guys do away from the field. It was really intriguing to me. It made me feel like I just really didn't put enough effort into my career. I'll tell you that much.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. All right, we do got to.
Certainly felt like that.
We do have to get to Craig Berube real quick. I thought the Bucs would cruise against the Falcons. That was sounded good at the time. But I did have the Lions. I did have the Ravens beating the Lions, and I did have the Giants over the Commanders as my upset pick of the week. So those are my prophecies for the week on top of Mizzou.
I had the Patriots losing. I've been picking them to win. And I finally went against him, and they finally lost. Or, I'm sorry, they finally won. They finally won. So that was sounded good at the time. And then we established earlier in the show that I picked the Diamondbacks to go to the World Series.
Nice job, kid.
And we got a text from 314. I remember Marsh saying it. I also was not sure if it was a joke or not.
Well, either way, it still counts.
I said it.
Nice job. All right, we got to get to Craig Berube. We'll talk to the Blues head coach next on 101 ESPN.
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet, the family that has been in business for over 80 years. They've got some great specials going on right now. At the Florissant location, which is one of 2, we'll get into that in a minute. They've got up to $8,000 off new Silverados, up to $4,000 off new Traverses. Pre-owned, they've got vehicles priced for $10,000 all the way to $70,000. So a vehicle for every buyer's budget. Now let's move on to Londoff Autoplex, which is location number 2 right there in St. Peters, right off of Highway 70. They've got the 2022 Ford Bronco, advanced Outer Banks, only 3,900 miles for $66,200. Sale price, $59,940. That's after all the discounts that Londoff Chevrolet is going to give you. So again, they're out there saving you money every single day and offering you fantastic customer service. So again, visit one of the 2 locations. Please get in there. Tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you. They love hearing that. And get yourself a new vehicle today. Or you can visit them at londoff.com or londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues lost to the Jets last night in Winnipeg by a final score of 4-2. We're going to break that game down with Blues head coach Craig Berube coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Time now for Chatting with the Chief with the coach of your St. Louis Blues, Craig Berube. Brought to you by Fisher Window and Door, your Marvin dealer with showrooms in Brentwood and East Alton, Illinois.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers live from his hotel room in Calgary. I'm Anthony Stalter, and let's head to our 101 ESPN Celebrity Line. We're joined by the head coach of your St. Louis Blues, Craig Berube. Chief, how you doing today?
Good, guys. How are you?
Doing great, Chief.
We're good, Coach. We're good. Hey, look, last night, power play gets on the board for the first time this season. They had a couple of real good looks, too. What did you see out of the power play last night that looked a little different for you?
Yeah, just better movement, not thinking so much. Just, the movement of the puck and the people and then getting pucks to the net. That's really what it all is about. Not so stagnant.
Another thing you guys were looking to do last night was create a little more offensive zone time of possession. It didn't look like the team got there necessarily. It's certainly not a lot of extended periods of time. What can you guys do to work on that? What can you do to change some of that in order to get some more time in the O-zone?
Yeah, it's a lot about your forecheck, first of all. Making sure that your forecheck's got numbers, coming up the ice together with numbers. Your D are up on the forecheck. That's going to create more O-zone time. And second, really, it is about getting in there and winning those battles. And when you get out of there with the puck, skate it out or rim it out, get it up high to the high ice so we create some separation. And, we're getting stalled out too easily, and then we're not winning those battles in there, and they're getting the puck and they're exiting out of their zone. But for me, it all starts with the forecheck. And then, winning those, getting on them pucks to the forecheck, getting there, winning those battles, then creating, O-zone time, getting it low to high, shooting pucks and getting them puck recoveries, We're doing great things off the rush right now, but we're just not getting enough O-zone time yet.
Coach, 5 games in, I know it's not a lot to break down thus far, but what's an area of your team's game that you've been pleasantly happy with thus far, and then what's one area that you really would like to see the team improve on?
Yeah, I think our rush game has been really good. We're creating a lot of chances off the rush. We could have finished 2 in the first period there where, it's a different game. And then I think our D-zone coverage has been good. We gave up the 2 goals in the second. I wasn't happy with those. That's missed coverage on those plays. But overall, we're keeping it to the outside. We're not giving up odd man rushes, which is good. We've got to continue to do that. Last time we gave up 0 odd man rushes in a game. So there's a lot of good stuff, but, a lot of room for improvement too.
Coach, part of your defensive core and their success, overall has been a guy named Colton Parayko so far this year. And I know he's not the only one who's played well. I've really liked the way Justin Falk has played as well. But watching Colton Parayko so far this year, it just seems a lot more confident. In your discussions with him, when you talk to him, do you get the same feeling?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's just playing. Like, he's skating, he's killing plays, he's using his stick, his reach. But, he's looking to shoot pucks all the time, too. So he's playing with a lot of confidence, but it all starts with his feet. And he's very confident with his feet right now. He's using his feet to kill plays, to skate pucks out of our zone and get up the ice.
Coach Craig Berube joining us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Obviously big to have somebody like Pavel Buchnevich come back, and he contributed it right away. When you have a player like Pavel Buchnevich out, Chief, and then he comes back in, how when you juggle up the lines and stuff, how long do you think it'll take for Buch before he gets back up to that top line? Or do you kind of like the way that your top 2 lines are playing thus far?
Yeah, it's not about him getting up to the top line. I think Saad with those guys has been good, so I didn't need to change that. And again, they created last night in the game too. So I think Bucci really adds a lot to that line with Chen and Kapanen. I think he adds a lot more offense to that line.
Coach, a young player by the name of Jake Neighbors, starts the season off on the 4th line, and look, the kid does nothing but go out there and work and try to get better every night, and found himself in a spot yesterday where, I don't know if you agree or not, but I felt like he may have been one of your best forwards in the second half of that game last night. You know, what have you seen from Jake here recently?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. His tenacity out there, and his hard play. He just wills his way around the ice, strong on pucks, gets to the net. Does the right things defensively. So, he's working his way to a better spot in the lineup on a consistent basis here. He's playing some real good hockey.
So based off that, any lineup changes at all for the game in Calgary? You going to shuffle the deck at all, maybe in your bottom six?
Yeah, I might. We'll also just, I think, on the back end too, I'm looking at maybe making some changes. So we'll see tomorrow.
Coach, your goaltending situation, Jordan Binnington, just fantastic thus far, but he's played 4 of the 5 games. Any insight that you could give us in terms of setting things up for Joel Hofer? Because I know there's kind of a sweet spot when it comes to how many games you guys want to see Jordan Binnington play when it's all said and done.
Yeah, well, we got back-to-back games, so he's definitely going to get a game here, which will be good, and we'll need him. We need him. We need Hofer to play a lot of games and play well for us. I mean, you don't want Bitter to take too much of a load. So Hofer's going to get one of these games here coming up in the next 2.
Coach, what's your theory on the back-to-backs to the goalies? Because, different coaches have different thoughts. I know the traditional one is that your starter gets, or your number one goalie gets the first game, backup goalie gets the second game. But I know that that's kind of been debunked a little bit in the last couple of years throughout the NHL. For you personally, is there a certain way you look at it, or is it on a game-to-game or a matchup basis type thing?
Yeah, game-to-game and matchup for us. We look at just different things on the team we're playing, how the goalies played in the past there, different things like that. So that's how we kind of go about it. It's a division game. If it's not a division game, there's a bunch of things that we look at.
Coach, we'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of the road trip, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Coach. This is Craig Berube here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie, you asked the question there a couple of minutes ago about maybe a little bit of a shakeup, and Coach kind of indicated that, especially with the bottom 6.
Yeah, he alluded to maybe a shakeup in the bottom 6, but he also took it one step further and said that there might be a change on the back end. So is it time for Robert Bortuzzo to get a look, tomorrow night against Calgary? Is it time for Scott Perunovich to get a look? Maybe it's time for both of them to get a look on that bottom pair. But look, Coach always manages to Trojan horse some kind of little information in there for us, which we truly appreciate from him. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I'll be at morning skate tomorrow. I'll have a clear idea as to what the plan is once we get down to the rink, and we'll be able to discuss that a little more tomorrow. But it certainly looks like there's going to be some lineup changes for the Blues.
Yeah, that's going to be real interesting. All right, it's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. By the way, I went to go get some water in that break, and I cut the corner a little too. Sometimes you don't go the full swing around when it comes to a corner.
Yeah.
I was basically a wide receiver going over the middle, and a linebacker at least clipped half my body. My cup went flying. No. Ice everywhere.
Is that around the tight corner down near the conference room?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I don't know.
You got blown up?
I got blown up across the middle.
Who hit you, or just the wall?
The wall hit me.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, wall got me.
It's like playing on turf.
I mean,
Tell me Josh lit you up. I mean, that's a big guy.
No, the wall did.
There full steam.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, Anthony, you have a thing for running into walls.
Yeah, I'm dumb. But the ball came out.
Curb feelers on you.
Yeah, no kidding. Man. Ice all over our break room. So spent the better part of that break not going to the bathroom like I needed to, and cleaning up all the ice and water so that nobody would tear an ACL.
Did you take that ice and put it in a bag? Help your body?
No. On your face?
I just threw it right away. I was disgusted with myself and that ice.
Yeah. We're going to have to put you in the blue tent the rest of the way.
Yeah, it'll be fine. That'd be fine. Or I could be like Deshaun Watson and just take the rest of the show off. Prove me wrong next on 101 ESPN. I think one of the best aspects of being a member of the Missouri Athletic Club is just heading down to the MAC, whether it's the West Clubhouse or the downtown clubhouse, and just seeing all that you can do when it comes to getting involved with various clubs. For me, I like working out, but, if I want to switch it up sometime and grab, a tennis racket or do some, squash or racquetball, pick that up, or maybe just some basketball. They've got it all available, and getting to know a lot of the club members too, and how they utilize the club is always fun too. I was talking to some various people today. I mean, you can get your personal training done there. You can, just enjoy some of the other clubs that they have. They got Whiskey Club, and they got, various speaker series. They got stuff for the family to do. It's just great to be a club member of the Missouri Athletic Club. That's my MAC.
Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
That's right. Time to play Prove Me Wrong here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Marsh is going to take something from the text line, and it's up to Jamie and I to convince Marsh, the judge, jury, and executioner in this case, that this statement is wrong. So go ahead, Marsh.
All right, let's start off with the 636. Prove me wrong. The Blues truly don't have 3 top-line players to compete atop of the division.
Well, first of all, have you seen the points per game from the last 2 years for the St. Louis Blues with their top guys right now? Obviously, Brandon Saad's been put up there in the interim because of Pavel Buchnevic's, his absence. But Pavel Buchnevich had over a point a game last year. Robert Thomas was right there, close to a point a game. Jordan Kyrou, 37 goals in the NHL right now. 37 goals. That puts him on the top line on almost every single team in the league, never mind the division or the conference. And these guys are, they're capable of putting up 85 to 95 points per season. Yeah, it's a little bit slow right now, but we've seen this before. They're explosive. Jordan Kyrou last night had 1 assist, had 2 breakaways, could have had easily 3 points, maybe 4 points. Robert Thomas had a goal, could have had a couple other points as well. So you can't tell me that they don't have 3 top-line players, because those 3 guys will be playing on the top line pretty much anywhere in the NHL right now.
Oh, they say the hips don't lie, and numbers don't either.
Nice.
Jamie,
nailed it.
You make a great point. It said compete for the top of the division. It didn't say win. I think this team can compete. So, Jamie, congratulations.
Got to read the fine print, gentlemen. Nice job, Jamie.
All right. Prove me wrong. The St. Louis Cardinals' number 1 priority this offseason is signing Yadier Molina.
Well,
if you don't have starting pitching, there's not much Yadi can do for you from a coaching standpoint. Obviously, having Yadi on your staff as a coach or a consultant makes you a better team. You don't advance further than the winning the division if you don't make wholesale changes with your pitching staff. Not just the starters, but you got to beef up this bullpen too. Why not give somebody like Yadi and the rest of the coaching staff the tools that they need to get the job done? I mean, you wouldn't hand a carpenter, Jamie, a stapler and tell him, now get to work. Even if he's the finest carpenter in the world. There's only so much you can do with a bleeping stapler.
Who, Chris?
Yeah, Chris Carpenter. Wait, no, different Carpenter.
Oh.
Yeah, different Carpenter. Matt Carpenter. Nope, not him either.
Oh.
Anyways, you got to get the pitching. That's the number 1 priority.
I've said it before, Anthony. You had me at pitching.
Yeah, thank you.
From the 314, prove me wrong. I feel like Jamie will take this one. NBA players are better athletes than NHL players.
Well, that's just laughable, quite honestly, because they do it wearing running shoes, which we learn to walk at, depending on who you are, between 9 to 12 months old, sometimes before that, if you're lucky. But the greater part of the population can walk, and there's a small smidgen of the population that can actually skate. And I mean just recreationally skate, let alone playing at a high level in the NHL, let's say, and you've got guys that are 6'3", 6'4", 210 pounds, zipping around at 20 to 25 miles per hour while swinging clubs, which they call hockey sticks, at you, while trying to handle a little wee piece of black rubber that's frozen that, by the way, there are 9 other guys on the ice that are trying to get that at all costs, trying to put your face through the glass, trying to get the puck from you, chop you over the hands, and all the while you've got to try and tight turn, stay on your edges, not blow a wheel, not fall down on your face, not get checked into oblivion. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I can do everything that basketball players can do at 48 years old. I can run down the court, I can dribble. Heck, I might even be able to get it up over the rim. It's a stretch at this point, but I know I used to be real close to dunking, and that's me, not even close to being a pro player. I would argue that there would be a really small percentage, probably 0%, of NBA players that could get down the ice in an NHL game and do something relevant. So, sorry about that one.
Two things here. One, it's extremely hard to ice skate unless you learned how to do it when you were younger. Two, I don't see any NHL players taking time off for load management. So, Jamie, I like what you got going on there. From the 314, prove me wrong. The Chiefs, Ravens, or Dolphins will win the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs, Ravens, or Dolphins will win the Super Bowl. Well, you didn't include the Eagles and the 49ers. Now, when the 49ers are at full strength, that's the best team in the league. The Eagles could have something to say for it, too, when it comes to going to Lincoln Financial Field in January. Tough place to play as it is, even tougher with everything's on the line, and you can't feel your face because it's Philly cold. When it comes to the Eagles and the 49ers, top to bottom, loaded rosters. And I think we're overlooking those two teams in this conversation, especially when the Eagles last year nearly beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and had the best player on the field, at least for that game, in Jalen Hurts. I don't think you just include those three teams and say, that's it. I think it's incredibly disrespectful to San Francisco and Philadelphia. Wow, this is a long deliberation. There we go.
Screw the AFC.
There we go.
Go Eagles. Go Vikings.
Go Bucks!
Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right, anyways.
Fire them cannons.
Well, whatever. From the 636, prove me wrong. The NCAA won't have the marbles to do something about the Michigan scandal before the college football playoffs.
They can't do anything about this because then they'd have to figure out who else is cheating in college football, which is probably most of these teams. Most of these teams are sign stealing. Most of these teams are out there and they're copying, the sidelines of certain teams. This has been a dark secret now in college football for quite a while. So we could talk about Michigan being caught, but you're going to have to take a stronger look at some of these other top teams if you're gonna dole out the punishment there. I don't think it has anything to do with the marbles of the situation. I think this probably goes a lot further than just Michigan.
Prime said it best. Still got to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
By the way,
we're hot today.
Did you see,
that was good, Jamie.
Matt Rule, he did an interview, and he was talking about how the NFL and even high school, they have the technology. They use technology to help play calling, and college doesn't. There's a rule that you can't do that. That's why they have these stupid signs. And he mentioned the reason that a lot of quarterbacks that transition to the NFL are doing poorly compared to others are because they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea how to adjust at the line because they're looking at these signs and not actually reading the defense.
I think whoever said it, I think he's absolutely right.
It was Matt Rule, who went from the NFL to college.
Yeah, I mean, he would know.
Totally, by the way, I was perplexed by this whole thing. I know they have the signs on the sidelines there, but why would these colleges where they have all week and 4 years to work with certain players, why would they not have a playbook that the quarterback knows, like the play calling, and can call an audible, and the coaches aren't sitting there like the college, not all college teams, but some of them, it's like they're video game controllers. Like the coaches have the video game controller and the quarterback is just the vehicle for them to go out there and make their plays. Why would you not institute a more professional way of doing it so that your quarterback, one, you're not susceptible to sign stealing, but two, your quarterback has the ability then to make certain reads and audibles? I don't understand that.
I'm with you on that, Jamie. I think the team that implements that will probably have an advantage too. Now there are teams
that player,
like Alabama, for example. This is why I like Bryce Young more than anybody else in the league. And I realize Bryce Young's off to a really bad start. And somebody like C.J. Stroud, who constantly looked to the sidelines at Ohio State, while that's been a bit of a surprise that he has been shot out of a cannon here. And somebody like Bryce Young is struggling. One, I think the Texans are a better team than the Panthers. But Bryce Young, I think, will eventually be fine because of the playing time at Alabama and having the ability to change plays at the line of scrimmage and things like that. He just needs a better team around him. Maybe it's a discussion to have at some point later on down the road. All right, let's get to the Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN.
Elevate your performance with Pure Performance, your one-stop shop for all aftermarket modifications. Whether maybe you have a brand new vehicle and you want to accessorize that new ride, please head over to Pure Performance. They've got you covered over there. They've got everything available. But what if you have an older vehicle and maybe you can't afford to buy a new one, or you don't want to buy a new one, but you want to change the look of it? Pure Performance is the best place for you to go. First off, they have a 25,000 square foot facility that has the largest showroom in the area, and where you can find anything and everything that you might need to enhance your vehicle. It's located in St. Peters, right off of Highway 70. When you go in there, you have to do me a favor. You have to ask for Shelby. She is the sheriff around there. Tell Shelby that Jamie Rivers sent you in, and then tell her what you're looking to accomplish. And maybe it's tires and wheels that you're looking to have done. Well, they do all tires and all wheels. It's not just for off-roading or oversized tires. They take care of everything for you. And while you're getting accessories done to your vehicle, if you have anything else that you need to have fixed or tweaked, they have a full service shop. They take care of everything. Tune-ups, oil changes, you name it. They've got you covered over there at Pure Performance. So please, again, walk in, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. If you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit them at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
Warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
403, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Time for the Gauntlet. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in Corey. What's up, Corey?
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
All right, good man. First time in the Gauntlet today? Or, well, first time in the Gauntlet, period.
Yep, this is the first.
All right, well, welcome aboard. Would you like to take on Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, or me?
I'm going to take you on today.
Okay. All right, Corey. Good luck to you, man.
Thanks.
All right. So, Corey, while Anthony makes his way to the cone of silence, a couple things here. Marshy, once we hear the category, you're going to have to send me the questions via text message, please. So
absolutely.
Going. And next order of business, Corey, is I need you to tell Marshy to spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel.
All right, Marshy will tell us what it is when it lands on it. But what are you hoping for, Corey?
Anything but football.
Anything but football. That's a good call right there. All right, well, it's slowing down here. Marshy, what do we got?
It is fast lane picks. We did not ask Anthony what he wants.
Well, I'm pretty sure he'd ask for football, but
yeah.
Why don't we ask Mike Ryder to ask him quickly?
Absolutely.
We forgot to ask. That way there, we're keeping it on the up and up. I'm pretty sure he's going to say football, though, Corey. I mean, just between you and I.
Yeah, I think he is, too. All right, we'll see.
Be it.
It is football.
Right. It is football. So, all right, Corey. As Marshy text messages me the questions here. Remember that there's 4 questions. If you answer the questions correctly without using the options, you get 2 points for that. And then if you use the options and you answer correctly, they're worth 1 point. And then, of course, if you answer them completely wrong, you get no points. And sometimes we laugh at each other and you guys. All right, Marshy, did you send that through to me?
I did. I just sent it. I can start us off with question number 1 for Corey.
Let's do that, please.
Question number 1 for you. Which team scored the most points in Week 7?
Week 7. Give me the options.
Options are the Cleveland Browns, the Jacksonville Jaguars, or the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I think it's Cleveland.
Final answer?
Yeah.
All right. Marshy, they did not come through, so you are going to have to drive through here. It came through, but it won't download. So you're driving the bus from here on out, son.
All right, sounds good. Question number 2 for you, Corey. Who is currently the only ACC team undefeated?
Only ACC team undefeated. Yeah, give me options for that, too.
Your options are Florida State, UNC, that is University of North Carolina, or Louisville.
Florida State was the first one that came to my head, so I'll go with that.
All righty. Any luck over there, Jamie, up in Canada?
No, it's something to do with the Wi-Fi here and whatnot. So it looks like it'll be downloaded by the time the Gauntlet's done.
Yeah,
so we'll be able to finish it up the right way. Yep.
Sounds about right. Okay, question number 3. Who is the only team who has beaten number 8? Let me re-say this. Who is the only team who has beaten number 8 ranked Oregon this season?
Washington. I'll go with Washington.
Final answer?
No, they just lost them, didn't they? Give me the option.
Options are Texas Tech, Washington, Colorado.
Texas. I'll stick with Washington. I think it's wrong, but I'll stick with Washington.
All right, final question. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it is.
Final question. The last time the Cardinals had a 1,000-yard rusher in a single season was in 2016, when which player rushed for 1,239 yards?
16. I'll go with David Johnson.
Final answer?
Yeah.
All right, let's bring Anthony back in here. How you feeling?
Marshy?
Not great.
All right, Marshy, it still has not downloaded properly, so you will be driving the bus until the end of the Gauntlet.
That's all right. We'll just have your commentary. Everyone loves it.
Oh, yes.
You were the color commentator of the Gauntlet today.
I'll describe what I'm hearing.
Exactly. Anthony, it chose Fast Lane picks. You chose football.
Yeah.
So your category is football.
Beautiful.
Jamie, by the way, is not receiving the questions. So he will commentate on your answers.
Oh, okay.
And I will ask you the questions.
Here in Canada, Anthony.
Gotcha. All right.
All right, let's start off with question number 1. Which team scored the most points in Week 7? NFL.
So this past week, Week 7. Okay, let's go through these then. Jacksonville scored a bunch of points, but I don't think they were the high. The Cleveland Colts game was I think the highest scored game, but did somebody hang 40? Because I think Cleveland scored like 39. Let me think here. Patriots, Jets, Dolphins, Eagles. I think it was the Browns. I'll go with the Browns. Final answer.
Question number 2. Who is currently the only ACC team undefeated?
That would be Florida State. Final answer.
Question number 3. Who is the only team who has beaten number 8 ranked Oregon this season?
That would be the Washington Huskies. Final answer.
And question number 4. The last time the Cardinals had a 1,000-yard rusher in a single season was in 2016, when which player rushed for 1,239 yards?
In 2016, for the Cardinals.
Football Cardinals.
The football Cardinals. Got it. Okay, thank you, Jamie. Good commentary there.
Dynamite drop it.
Who would have been in the Cardinals 2016? For time purposes, I'll take the options.
Options are Beanie Wells, David Johnson, Edgerrin James.
I'm thinking it's got to be David Johnson before he was traded to Houston. So David Johnson, final answer.
All righty, let's go over these questions. Anthony, how are you feeling?
I feel good to quite good. Feel strong to quite strong.
Okay. All right, let's start with any luck before we go to the results. Any luck, Jamie?
Yeah, we're getting closer, really close. Like there's a sliver left to download.
This is like this is like dial up in the '90s when you're waiting. Mark, I got the internet. Yeah, sure. And then you wait an hour just to visit one page.
All right, Marsh, you were there.
Yes!
I got it from here, buddy.
Wow.
You and I, teamwork makes the dream work.
Let's go.
Here we go. All right. I'll just run through them because I didn't keep score because I didn't have the answers. Question number 1 was, which team scored the most points in Week 7? Corey, you took the options and said Cleveland. Anthony, I believe you said Cleveland without the options.
I did, Jamie. I did.
Answer is?
It is the Cleveland Browns. They scored 39 points against Indy. The next amount of points was the Baltimore Ravens with 38 over Jamie's Detroit Lions. So both you got that correct.
And the Colts also scored 38 because the Browns beat them by 1.
All right, show off.
I'm just saying.
2-1. 2-1, Anthony.
I'm not often right. And then, when I am right, he's right there just to humble me.
No, I wasn't trying to help you.
Okay.
I'm impressed with your extensive knowledge, Anthony.
Thank you.
All right. Question number 2. Who is currently the only ACC team that is undefeated? Corey, you said Florida State. Anthony, you said Florida State. Marshy, did Corey need the options?
Corey did need the options.
And the answer is?
It is Florida State.
Florida State. So Anthony up 4-2 after 2. Go to question 3. Who is the only team who has beaten the number 8 ranked Oregon this season? Corey, you said it's Washington. Then you went back and said, I don't know. I think they just lost to them. And then you went, give me the options. And then you went, Washington. Anthony, you went Washington. I remember this game very well because this was a game that Anthony and I had picked.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the answer, but Marshy, the answer is.
It is Washington.
It is Washington. So Anthony up 6-3, one question to go. I think we know where this is going. But let's play it out. The last time the Cardinals, the football Cardinals, had a 1,000-yard rusher in a single season was in 2016, when which player rushed for 1,239 yards? Corey, you said David Johnson, I believe with the options.
Without the options.
Without the options. My bad.
Nice.
My bad. And then did Anthony use the options?
I
Marshy?
did.
He did.
And he said?
David Johnson.
Answer is.
It is David Johnson.
Wow.
David Johnson. Anthony ends up getting you. Corey?
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
And Corey, you got all of them right, too, though, right?
Yeah,
did.
so let's talk about this for a second, Corey. Because when Anthony left the room, when Anthony left the room, you said, I don't want to do I don't want football. Yet you went on to crush it in football.
Yeah,
man.
nice job.
I felt pretty confident on everything, but I know, Anthony, you're a football guy, so it was, I should have trusted my gut. I could have got all of those without the options. It's all right.
Yeah, you did great, though. Yeah, obviously you're a football guy, too, man. You got it's not often where you lose when you get every question right, but, hey, congrats nonetheless. We appreciate you listening. Thanks for playing, Corey.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, thanks. We hope you try again at some point.
Yep.
All right, there you go. That's Corey here in the Gauntlet on 101 at ESPN. That was a nice job. It's difficult to
Very
get them all
nice
right.
job, Anthony, congratulations.
Well, thank you. Corey did a great job, too. All right, let's get into the NFL 4 downs, including a question about Deshaun Watson. Are the Browns using this injury to maybe, I don't know, bench the guy that they gave a bunch of money to, all guaranteed? We'll get into that as part of our NFL 4 downs next on 101 ESPN.
If you're looking to save money on your car or your home insurance, make sure you call Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency with Allstate for the most competitive rates. Look, with Allstate and Tracy Bibb, you get that personal attention from your agent that you deserve and that most people don't get. Most people get a 1-800 number, and it's kind of figure it out for yourself from there. No, not with Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency. She works with you to make sure that you have the right type of coverage for when something happens, because it's not if something happens. We know things always happen, and when they do, you want to make sure that your claims and everything are taken care of the right way, and that your insurance agent knows you and knows your family and understands what's involved here. And one thing that I learned really quickly with Tracy Bibb was I thought, the best rate, that's all I needed. Well, I was completely not covered. I did not have the proper coverage, and I'm very lucky that something did not happen. Tracy Bibb became my agent and found that right away and corrected that, and still managed to fight and get me the best rate available. And she has been amazing to deal with. She's always there, whether it's me, whether it's my children, whether it's my girlfriend. Tracy Bibb is always just a text or phone call away. The Bibb Agency is amazing, and you should certainly give them a call for a free non-committal quote. That number is 314-328-4260. Again, that's 314-328-4260. It's no fib. You're in good hands with Tracy Bibb.
Before we get into the NFL 4 Downs, and we will get into this a little bit later on, maybe in what's trending, but 5-star recruit Ryan Wingo has decided to go to Texas over Mizzou, apparently, and our guy Brandon Kiley was all over this. Apparently, Wingo mentioned multiple times that he chose to go to Texas over Mizzou because, quote, that offense is different and that Texas gets the ball to his receivers. And as Kiley pointed out, I mean, the statistics. No, he's not a jerk. The kid can go. The kid can go to wherever he wants.
It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't. I'm allowed to. My opinion, right?
Yes, it is your opinion.
MIC.
He can go wherever he wants.
ZOU, Anthony.
It's disappointing though. So Ryan Wingo decided to go to Texas over Mizzou.
Should have opened up the playbook.
Soft?
Yeah, should have started throwing the ball more.
I mean, if
Why
they would have
been so soft, Anthony.
Ooh, that's a kid. He can make his own decision. He chose to go to Texas. That doesn't make him a jerk. Come on.
What's our first rule in the fast lane?
Nobody's safe
There you
when
go.
they deserve it.
All of a sudden, people are safe.
No, listen. If Ryan Wingo decided to take shots at us in the fast lane, not great.
Yes, so, think I care? Kid's a Longhorn now. He can go do whatever the hell he wants. Leave me alone.
He just did.
Yeah,
Going to Austin.
I know. So if he starts talking smack about the fast lane, think I care?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I do believe, though, if they open up the playbook in those first 2 weeks, that maybe he commits to Mizzou.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
that's
there'd be more yards.
Yeah. More receptions to the receiver.
For sure.
Yeah, no, it's a good call. Yeah. All right, let's get into the 4 Downs. We got Jeremy Rutherford coming up in less than 10 minutes.
First down.
Anthony, you teased Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has already been ruled out for Sunday's game against the Seahawks. Is there any chance the Browns could be using Watson's injuries as a way to bench him?
This is weird, this whole situation. So he injured.
When has there ever been anything weird surrounding Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, or the Browns, for that matter, right? I mean, they both have really sound track records, these two. Yeah, they're honestly a match made in heaven. So Watson first injured his rotator cuff on September 24th against the Titans. He didn't practice the following week, but then he told reporters on Thursday, the Thursday before the game, that the following week that he would play against the Ravens in week 4. And then he didn't. And then Kevin Stefanski, the head coach for the Browns, said after the game that that Watson had been medically cleared to play, but he just made the decision not to. And then, of course, you fast forwarded after he missed a couple of games. He starts on Sunday. He's terrible. He's evaluated for a concussion. He clears concussion protocol during the game, but Stefanski decides to stick with his backup quarterback anyways, PJ Walker. And now, on Wednesday, JB, on Wednesday, they already say, you're not playing PJ Walker. I don't know what they do here, though, because his contract is fully guaranteed. They're married to this guy no matter what. They made the deal with I shouldn't say that. They made a strange deal with Watson, despite all of his accusations and things like that, despite the NFL investigation, despite the suspension. What? And they still made the deal and then paid him all that money and guaranteed contract. You're stuck with him.
Yeah. Anthony.
But it looks like they're trying to bench him.
Yeah, maybe he'll quit. Is that what you're trying to do? Make his life miserable so he quits?
Maybe.
At that point, you can suspend him without pay? I don't know.
It's a lot of money to just decide to walk away from. But
it's a lot of money, for sure. And the Browns are going to have a hard time massaging this in order to make it look right.
Come on.
I could tell in Jamie's face he was cooking up something.
Come on, Brady Quinn.
Go ahead, Marsh.
Brady Quinn, I mean, credit to him, though. He fired back.
He did.
Like, Deshaun's quarterback coach shouldn't be lipping off to the media when your player or your client has been less than average, to say the least.
Yeah.
And then not expect, like, if you live in a glass house and that glass is paper thin.
Yeah.
You should probably not throw any kind of stone.
Yeah, don't be throwing stones.
No.
All right, go ahead.
And you know what?
Nope.
Some people, Anthony, even including myself, he's guaranteed that money, but I'm kind of tickled that he's going through all these problems. After all the crap, I'm not going to get into the legal stuff and all that, but there's obviously something substantial enough there that people were paid lots of money for, as far as damages are concerned. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Karma is a thing sometimes.
Brady Quinn, known great Browns quarterback.
Oh, yeah. One of many.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second down.
Dude.
Very handsome man. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you believe
jealous?
Absolutely. Do you believe defenses have finally caught up to the modern day offense?
I wonder. I think that given the inexperience of the quarterbacks and how limited they are, it also limits the offense of what they could do. And you know how it goes, Jamie. A copy of a copy of a copy of a copy isn't as strong as the previous copy, the original, of course. So you've got all these copycats that, they might be running an offense that is similar to Kyle Shanahan's or similar to Sean McVay's or similar to Andy Reid's or similar to Mike McDaniel's, but it's not. And it's not their own spin, and they're not the play caller that those other guys are. So you got an inexperienced quarterback, an inexperienced coordinator who's also a head coach, and this is rampant around the NFL. And I think defenses have finally caught up. Like, play everything in front. The tackling, I think, has been much better throughout this NFL season than we've seen in previous years, especially since they made the adjustments to the practice times and things like that. And I think the NFL defenses and NFL coordinators, defensive coordinators, have finally adjusted to what they're seeing offensively. That's my take, at least. All right, we got to save the other two NFL questions. Maybe we'll throw them in the Sports Six Pack, or I don't know, revisit this tomorrow, because we got to get to Jeremy Rutherford. We'll get his thoughts on what Craig Berube told us earlier, that changes could be coming tomorrow night in Calgary for this Blues team.
We could just ask him the next two questions, too.
Let's stick with hockey. Yeah, yeah. JR.
Hey, don't you sell JR, George.
JR knows his football.
Let's not paint him in a corner.
But, no, we'll stick with hockey. That's not, considering JR at one point, when he was doing a show with me one time, I said, what do you think of that Alabama-Texas game? He goes, yeah, well, Alabama's got that player. So.
They do. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, Anthony.
JR is a phenomenal hockey reporter. We'll stick to hockey with him next on 101 ESPN.
If you are currently in the market for replacement windows and maybe you don't know who you should pick, let me help you out. Head over to Window World. They are the best in the business. They're also the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. Window World is ranked number 1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. And Window World windows are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. And why do they have these honors? Because they make a double strength glass that gives it a strength that you just don't find in common replacement windows. And what I mean is those thin windows that break easily, or you can feel the summer heat coming through or the winter cold coming through the window. That's not good. It's not efficient. It's going to cost you more money than it needs to. So please get a Window World window that is extra durable and double strength, and also comes with a lifetime warranty that covers all the parts, glass breakage, and labor. And of course, Window World loves their customers and wants to take care of them, so they're offering 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So please give them a call over at 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800, or look them up at windowworld.com.
.101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues fell to the Jets last night by a final score of 4-2. They'll take on the Calgary Flames tomorrow. We talked about last night's game with Craig Berube earlier today. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. We'll talk Blues hockey and that one player from Alabama with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic. That's coming your way next, right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center Update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Notes and nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers, live from Calgary. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we are joined via our 101 ESPN celebrity line by Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic. You can follow him on Twitter at JP Rutherford. JR, how are you?
I remember that day like it was yesterday, Anthony. We're talking about college football, and I'm trying to carry my weight. So I tell you, they got that one guy.
It was funny. It was great. It's an inside joke that I always remember, JR.
Yeah, and I'll remember, too, we were talking about LSU, and you said, do you know their team name? And I said, yeah. And you said, all right, prove it. And I said, Trojans.
You know, JR, you've come a long way, though. You know that now they are the Tigers. So
yeah,
I know you were listening earlier when we were talking to Coach Craig Berube, and he noted to us that he's thinking about lineup changes among the bottom six forwards and then also on defense for tomorrow night's game. What do you think one, what do you think the changes are? And two, what do you think Coach is going for here?
Yeah, he always drops some good clues with you guys. I guess in terms of in and out of the lineup, there's really not much you could do up front. You know, Alexandrov went back to being a healthy scratch after Buchnevich came back, but I'm sure he's alluding to moving some guys around. And the hint that he dropped with you guys was Jake Neighbors earning some ice time up the lineup, which we've seen the past couple games. I thought that he was one of the Blues' top 2 or 3 players last night, along with Alexei Toropchenko. We saw both of those guys climb up a couple lines. So that's, I think, what we could probably see from the start of the game, like guys like Neighbors and Toropchenko up top. Not the top line, but within the top 9. And then I think on defense, I think we're probably going to get our first look at Robert Bortuzzo and or Scott Perunovich. I think that there's been some hiccups in the defensive end, and not necessarily to point the finger at Scandella and Tucker, but I think at some point you got to get Bortuzzo and Perunovich in, and I think this is probably the time.
JR, as you watch the Blues playing here in the first handful of games, what are you seeing from this team? Because I know you dropped a few things in the Twitterverse or the Xverse, whatever we want to call that. You had some comments about that. And I always find it interesting because, I obviously look at it sometimes from a coach's standpoint or a broadcaster, like breaking it down. But in your opinion, what are you seeing from this team right now?
Well, to me, it's all about the zone time. And as we would have it this week, the NHL launched a new part of their website that shows some new advanced stats. And you hear the term advanced stats, and you say, I don't want to hear about the analytics. Well, that's not necessarily what I'm talking about here. They've launched this website that has offensive zone time and defensive zone time. And I'm writing about this for tomorrow at The Athletic. And now just the eye test, the three of us, we can watch the games and know that they're not getting enough time in the O zone and they're spending way too much time in the D zone. But as I look at it right here, the Blues in the offensive zone, they're dead last, number 32 in the league, spending just 35.8% of their puck possession time in the offensive zone. And conversely, you look at the D zone, you think they might be dead last there too. It turns out third to last, just behind Chicago and San Jose, 2 kind of bottom dweller teams. But the Blues, 45% of their play is in the defensive zone. So you can get into the nitty gritty and talk about the passing and puck support being 5-foot passes, things like that. But to me, it's what they're not doing, and that's occupying the offensive zone, which is forcing them to spend a lot of time in their D zone.
Jeremy Rutherford joins us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN. JR, I know that you had put out an article last night or earlier today talking about Doug Armstrong's 1,000th regular season game as the Blues general manager. Quite an impressive run for the GM. Of course, this is somebody that you've covered a long time. When you look back on the 1,000 games, there's a lot to certainly unpack, but is there one like time period that stands out more than the rest outside of course the Stanley Cup run?
Yeah, I think so. I think probably that 2013, 14, 15 when they kind of started to build and create that team that eventually went to the Western Conference Final, and I think that was about the first time in 16 years that a Blues team had gone that far. Doug Armstrong was bringing in players, Anthony, and things would come together for certain stretches of the season, or this player would come in and do well. But I think in terms of a team coming together and putting it together in the playoffs, I think that's when it started to come to fruition. And, the one thing that we can never forget is you're going to always give credit to that 2019 team, the Stanley Cup team. But as Doug said in the article, and he's said in the past, there's a lot of other people who might have left before 2019 who played a part in that, whether it be a coach who coached up a player for a couple of years before he left, and then that player was a vital part to the 2019 run, or it could have been a player who left, but he taught and mentored some of those guys who were on that 2019 team. So I think that what he's done, and you talk to people around the league, just the respect that he has for building a competitive team year after year after year. 10 years in the playoffs out of 12 years is not too shabby.
No, it's really impressive. And I think that's one thing that Blues fans have to be very thankful for is that, when Army had come aboard, not as a GM yet, but GM in waiting, we'll call it, this team was in transition, to say the least. Rebuild, transition, call it whatever you want. And they turned it around and made this team very competitive for, like you said, 10 of the 12 years making the playoffs, which is great. And one of the players that, was added to this mix, a great find by the Blues, was Colton Parayko. And, JR, I know you wrote an article about Colton Parayko as the season was beginning or before it started, and he was very honest with, what he thought of his play, and, he felt that he owed it to the fans to continue to play as hard as he possibly can. But, man, watching him play this year, I feel like I'm watching a completely different player than I was last year.
Well, if you wouldn't have said that, I was going to say that. I feel like I'm watching a different player. You're talking about a guy who's assertive. It doesn't look like he's going to sit around and wait for something to happen. He's making things happen. And, we've seen it a couple times already. Craig Berube touched on it the other night. He grabs the puck behind his own net, and 200 foot later, he's making something happen in front of the other team's net. And I think that's where Colton Parayko is at his best. And I think defensively, we can talk about the new system and what they're doing, but it's working for him. He's following guys into the corner, Riv. He's digging pucks out. He's winning puck battles that he didn't win last year. And, as he said in that article that you talked about, he was thinking too much. So it definitely looks like he's cleared his mind. He's not thinking. He's reacting, and you can totally tell. Bennington, I think, has been the Blues' best player in terms of who sticks out the most. But to me, as far as the skaters go, it definitely has been Colton Parayko.
JR, is there any other player that you have been kind of surprised in a good way to see them start the season the way they have, of course, besides Bennington and Parayko?
Yeah, I would say Jordan Kyrou, and I know maybe the offense hasn't come yet, maybe that top line hasn't clicked yet, but if you had to write down a list of 3 or 4 things at the start of the season that you wanted to see, it would be Colton Parayko playing well, it would be Jordan Bennington playing well, and it would be Jordan Kyrou figuring it out on the defensive end. And I'm not saying he's there yet, but I've seen 4 or 5 plays that you wouldn't have seen the past couple of years from Jordan Kyrou. So, hey, we can call it small steps or whatever, but I think 5 games into the season, still a long ways to go, but he's making some of those plays that I think the coaching staff has been asking from him for a long time here.
JR, another guy that I think we'd be remiss not to mention, quite honestly, and who's really impressed me has been Justin Falk. He's standing guys up at the blue line. He's got that physicality. He looks way more assertive than he has before.
He does, and whether that's a reaction to the change in the system or just being the veteran type of guy who wants to put last year behind him because he was one of the more vocal players just wanting to put last year behind him and move forward and try to be a leader on this team, which he is. I agree with you. He's played outstanding. You saw that play. You were probably 50 feet away, Riv, last night, where he does lose the puck, and what does he do? He knocks the guy on his keister to get that, try to help get that thing back. So he's always been a guy to me who, he's not a Torrey Kruger or Scott Pernovich, but he's a little bit undersized, but he still plays big. And if you see him in the offensive end, I'm doing this chart right now. Hardest shot on the Blues this season. I think he's second or third on that list. Granted, just 5 games, but he's got the shot. He's got a tight gap in the defensive end. He can do so many things, and I think you're right. I think he's off to a really good start as well.
JR, good stuff. We appreciate you coming on. Good stuff, too, on the Doug Armstrong article and the Colton Parayko article from this past offseason, because we've been referencing a lot with the way that he has played. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you next week.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's Jeremy Rutherford here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. He's our Blues insider with The Athletic. Why don't we do what's trending next? Because some big news. We had mentioned the news impacting Mizzou, and somebody has decided to retire in Major League Baseball, kind of a bigger name.
Is it Mad Dog? What?
Mad Dog Russo? No, yeah, for saying that.
Need to get into that.
Yeah, the Phillies. If the Phillies didn't win, he would retire. I think he was on today. What's trending next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN?
Anthony, FanDuel is a part of everything these days, and the NBA is no exception. Right now, FanDuel is offering new customers $5 and they're offering $200 in bonus bets, and all you have to do is bet $5. That's right, that $200 is guaranteed too. All customers as well can get 3 months of the NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel when they place that $5 bet on the NBA.
Yeah, Jamie, that way you can watch all the action as you bet on everything from point spreads to player props. Best of all, you get paid your winnings instantly, so don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets plus 3 months of NBA League Pass just by visiting FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast. Tip off the NBA season right with FanDuel, the official partner of the NBA.
21 and older, present in Illinois. New customer offer. First online real money wager. Only refund issues now. Travel bonus bets expire in 7 days. All customers offer $5 NBA wager requirement. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See full terms for both offers at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
on in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered with what's trending now.
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill and get a Lion's Choice sandwich coupon.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. We talked about this earlier in the show, but Ryan Wingo is not a Mizzou Tiger. He is a Texas Longhorn.
Yeah, it's disappointing, but you could also, with NIL, I mean, Texas has got deep pockets. I'm sure that Ryan Wingo got himself a pretty good NIL deal, or one's coming, and he decided to go to Texas. Mizzou was in the running, though, clearly. So as long as they're bringing in guys like Luther Burden, and they have opportunities to get guys like Ryan Wingo.
They're in the running, whatever.
They're going to be in good shape, And, hey, Mizzou's also provided the nation with two of the best players. You got a couple of five-star players there. So they're going to be fine. Program's going to be fine. Wingo decided to go to Texas. Fine.
Not fine.
We got a text from the 314. Why would this kid choose Mizzou when, as a local kid, knows Mizzou is still just Mizzou?
Whoa, come on now. They're racking up wins left and right.
What are they ranked right now?
I don't know.
I think they're 16.
Yeah, 16, Jamie.
Yeah, they're top 20 team in the nation. I'd say that's pretty good.
Absolutely. We did have a conversation.
What are the Longhorns ranked?
I think 15th.
What are the Longhorns ranked?
I think 15th.
Right in and around there, right?
Yeah, I think they're 15th.
Yeah. So let's not act like one program is completely superior at this moment than the other.
Listen, nobody's saying they're completely superior. By the way, Texas is 7th.
Well, you guys were close.
Okay, maybe a little bit better. Yeah.
LSU is 15th.
I can tell that Anthony is all about the Texas Longhorns.
I can feel it too.
Right?
Yeah.
Even his body language, he doesn't want to even acknowledge that Mizzou should have been an option for this kid.
I know. It's like he's watching Vince Young highlights from 2005, 2006.
He might be.
On repeat.
He might be.
I am not going to be the person that's going to be critical of a young man choosing to go to a school or program that he wants to go to. All right?
Why?
I'm not going to bury this kid. Come on.
I don't want to bury him, but we're allowed to be unhappy about it.
I'm not saying you don't have to be unhappy about it, but you're acting like Mizzou just lost out on the next Andrew Luck.
One, I never said that, nor am I acting like that.
No, it feels like you are, though.
That matter.
It feels
what
like
I'm pissed off about is I think every Missouri kid should want to go to Mizzou. Bottom line. That's it. Never mind. I don't care about anything else what you just said. It was blah, blah, blah. This is what I heard, okay? Kids should want to go to Mizzou. That's what's got me angry.
I didn't want to go to Mizzou.
Straight from the horse's mouth there.
Well,
I wasn't an athlete.
Marsh goes, I'm not going to Mizzou. I'm going all the way up to Minnesota.
North Dakota.
North Dakota. Yeah. I mean, it's close.
Even
Anthony.
worse.
Even worse.
We even have a place called Minkota.
Even worse. Okay? So, this young man's got different aspirations. Probably one of them is to play for Arch Manning or with him. So,
in fact,
I doesn't want to play under the Arch. He wants to play with Arch. You know what I mean?
You make a great point.
You make me sick.
Okay.
I was about 2 hours away from where Jamie was last night in Winnipeg.
Seriously. Yeah.
Just a quick drive right up the highway.
Oh, really? Oh, for school you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was always 96 degrees.
Absolutely.
North Dakota.
Balmy 96 degrees.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No humidity.
By the way, boys, it's snowing here in Calgary.
Is it?
So.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there's a foot and a half of snow on the ground, too.
Jamie, you heading to the Stampede later this week?
Not unless they're riding polar bears around here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Stuff will be out there.
Well, you never
I wish
know.
the Stampede was going on right now.
Are you going to take in a Calgary Stampeders game?
I wish they were playing. I would. That'd be fun.
Okay.
Although I'm slightly underdressed for the occasion, probably frozen solid by the time the first half was over. But
fair enough.
CFL games are fun, Anthony. They score a lot of points in that league.
That they do.
Guys, I mentioned Mad Dog Russo, who said he was going to retire. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
But, Anthony, you teased it in the last segment. Dusty Baker has officially retired as the manager of the Houston Astros.
I am a Dusty Baker fan. I'm glad that he got a World Series last year, Jamie.
Yeah.
He handled that Houston Astros situation about as well as any outsider could. He was the one that stepped in following, of course, the firing of A.J. Hinch and the shakeup that happened with the Houston Astros and the trash can scandal. And Dusty Baker came in and had this calming presence to him, and all he did was win the last couple of years. So he gets his World Series. This time he came up short, went up against somebody that he has gone up against a lot in the past, and Bruce Bochy, and Bruce Bochy got him this time. But I think now's a great time. There's no what ifs for Dusty Baker. He had a tremendous managerial career. I mean, that guy won to varying levels, to varying degrees, at multiple stages throughout his career. And if you know like Dusty Baker's backstory, Baker is admitted to having some serious problems back in the day. Depression, almost took his own life at one point, and battled through it to be one of the best managers of the last 2 decades. So good for Baker. I know a lot of people here associate him with the Reds. I get that. I get that frustration and that anger. I understand that. But he certainly was much more than just that incident there with the Reds and the Cardinals. I mean, the guy was a great manager for a long time.
Yeah, he obviously was one of the best in the game. But I do have a question, Anthony, and I heard something on a national broadcast on radio talking about the fact that they thought that Dusty Baker wouldn't be asked back following this season by the Astros ownership and upper management. So I wonder if, Dusty, first of all, he's spent enough time in the sport of baseball.
Yeah.
That retirement is certainly not something where it's surprise. But I wonder if he kind of saw, not the writing on the wall, but I wonder if he kind of saw that the road was coming to an end in Houston, and he was just like, screw this. I am not starting over somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that I don't know. I hadn't seen that report. That would be
interesting.
interesting.
They talked about how they wanted to go in a different direction and wanted to
get younger or something.
Manager.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I get that. Every organization. I go back to and Baker wasn't in Houston as long as Tony was here. But I always think about Tony saying, about 10 years, and then your message starts to. You worry about your message becoming stale. With the even if it's a bunch of different players and things like that, just that message being repeated each and every year, gets a little stale. And he that was always Tony's thing. He would always worry about that, but at least be aware of it. So maybe it's a situation where he did read the writing on the wall.
Guys, last thing here, probably the biggest news of the day, and as Bertram Grover Weeks would say, I've been saving it for a good time. The Cardinals have claimed off of waivers Buddy Kennedy from the Oakland Athletics.
Got their ace, guys. Got their ace.
And the 40-person roster now stands at 40.
So, this guy's a high strikeout guy, Marsh?
Maybe in the batter's box, he's an infielder.
Oh.
Middle infielder.
Okay. A middle infielder.
We need one more.
Can he play in the outfield? That's my only question.
Oh, sure. Here he can.
Okay.
He's an INF, Anthony.
Slash OF.
Yeah, not an RHP.
Or UTL. No? None of those? All right. Okay. Utility player.
I'd say he is a UTL if his position is INF. There's no specific position there.
Just infielder. Plays somewhere in the infield.
Do you think Mo just sits at home sometimes and he's like, how can I troll the Cardinals fan base today?
Jamie, I asked Ryder the same thing earlier. I asked Ryder the exact same thing. I looked at Mike Ryder, our executive producer, and I said, do you think that the Cardinals and Mo specifically are just trolling the fans? with signings like
why else
what's
do
his
you
name?
make-
Buck
name is
Kennedy.
Buddy
Kennedy.
Buddy Kennedy.
Buddy Kennedy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy, old pal.
I mean,
Hey there, buddy.
I mean, we shouldn't bury this kid, this guy.
No, it's
he
not his
didn't
fault.
do anything.
Let me
We
just
didn't name him.
let me lay this out for you. We picked him up from the Oakland Athletics. The Cardinals posted a picture of him not even in an Oakland Athletics uniform.
Would
He's
you?
wearing a Diamondbacks jersey.
So he couldn't even play for the
I would
A's.
too.
Is that what we're saying, Marsh?
I'm
Is
not-
that what you're saying, but without saying it? He couldn't.
I'm just saying
Buddy Kennedy couldn't crack the roster for the A's,
couldn't
and
find
the
a
Cardinals
photo of
said,
him.
"Come on home,
We got a guy
buddy.
that doesn't even have an irrelevant photo.
come on home, buddy. You play
I
for
love
us."
that they used the Diamondbacks picture because, like, people
know
look and
what?
go, "Hey, we got a player from the Diamondbacks. They're good."
Yeah.
Well, no, that was us. That was us because we couldn't find a photo of him in the A's uniform. Yeah, at least I said this the other day too. It reminds me of the Major League 2 quote when he's like, "I didn't sell Parkman outright. I did get you an outfielder. He used to play for the Giants."
Is Buddy Kennedy going to be the next
Not
Taylor
those
Motter?
Giants. Yeah, probably.
Ah, man, I just need a new player to root for. You know,
Motter will be back.
Someone
I'm
to
sure.
get behind. No, I don't think so.
I think he will.
He might, man.
Yeah.
You just never know. Multiple
All right.
people coming.
We got what's trending coming up next. You get a question, send it into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Buddy Kennedy, big off-season move. All right. Sports Six Pack next.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN 505. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Speaking of Marshy, he's got our Sports Six-Pack questions.
Question number 1.
Yeah, let's keep the conversation going about Buddy. From the 636, is this a classic drunk Mo decision?
Yes. Yeah. Let me tell you something. You know what we need? You know what we need? We need Kennedy. Who's the guy who play for Adam Kennedy? Let's get his brother. Let's get his brother. And never is like, who? He doesn't have it. Just find somebody named Kennedy. There's a guy here that they didn't even make the A's roster. Bring him in. Tell it. Let's just do it. And you know what? It's going to be my only move. All off season. I'll show these fans.
I see Mo being there like, you want me to add, huh? You add? I'll freaking add. You want payroll to go up? Give me that Buddy guy. It's going up $212,000 right now.
Fine guy. They used to play for the Diamondbacks, but doesn't anymore. Let's fool these guys.
The guy's a Diamondback. No, he's an A.
Okay.
Got a text from the 636. Mo had a few too many old fashions, read some Twitter comments, and said, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm going to get even more utility infielders.
We're going to keep zagging.
You never have enough.
If we just keep zagging, eventually we'll zig.
Question number 2.
From the 314, why is it that the NCAA will allow their basketball players to go pro after 1 year, but the football players have to wait longer?
That's
my guess might be just a slight age, injury situation thing, concussion problem. I don't know.
That's kind of the answer I was thinking of. But I don't know if it makes any sense.
That's kind of where I'm at too. That's why I said it the way I did. Where I gritted my teeth through it.
I know. I was kind of like,
I was real confident in my opinion. Could you tell? It's what
something to do with the sports leagues, maybe? Like, can the NBA influence the NCAA, and can the NFL? Because I could see the NFL saying, like, we don't necessarily want to draft freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to have a kid that's more developed.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think it's a bigger jump. I think because the nature of the sport, it's a bigger jump. That would be my thought process behind it. We have seen NBA players, obviously LeBron and Kevin Garnett back in the day, make that jump from high school to the NBA and have success. Yeah, Kobe, and have success right away. Jamie, for as talented as the kids are in high school, and there's a lot of talent, I can't imagine an 18 or 19-year-old kid going from high school to the NFL. Like that's a grown man league, and playing well.
High school to the NHL.
Yeah, true. Do they have a lot of success outside of Crosby? I mean, what's the?
Well, no, the top 5 picks usually have a pretty good impact on their team at an early age. Look at Connor Bedard right now.
Yeah.
Look at.
Do most of them go straight from the draft to their team too? The NHL?
Top five picks. Yeah. After that, there's some development time. So to be fair, in the discussion, the NHL kids that are drafted 18 years old and older.
Mm-hmm.
Usually go through the process of development, go back for another year of junior following that, and then maybe a year in the minors, and you kind of work your way up. So there is some development from the point of the draft where the NFL does not have any development.
Yeah.
It's NFL or bust for these guys.
Sure. Okay, so you got two boys, and they're what, right around 20?
They are 20, yeah.
Okay, they're the 20. Imagine them if they played football. And Big Hoss he's a big kid. But imagine him, even if he played high school football and he's a good player, and you're sending him to the NFL, right?
No, you get annihilated.
Yeah, I think that it's a situation where you have at least 3 years more of weight training, of playing the game, going from high school to maybe a Power 5 or a Group of 5 conference, and you get used to that, but a full weight training, more nutrition, all that. I just think those 2 years, 3 years are pretty pivotal when it comes to the NFL.
I totally agree. And apparently it's an NFL NBA thing. I think the NBA has a big part of it. We're just reading up on it right now. And the NFL has set the minimum of 2 years of college. And they said for development of the athlete, they think the 2 years is the best recipe. So
yeah, I don't disagree.
I mean, geez, there's some college guys that still, they go 4 years. They still can't even play in the NFL.
No, very true.
You know, it's all about.
Yeah, and you're not knocking them. You're making the point of
making a point.
How difficult that is to make that adjustment.
With football, I mean, think about it. There's so much more that goes into football than basketball. I feel like if you have that raw talent in basketball that can play at the NBA level.
Yeah.
Whereas football, you need to know how to read defenses. You need to know playbooks. You're still developing, your skill set. It's just two complete different games.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Agreed.
I agree.
Question number 3.
All right, we'll have to carry this over. So this will be the last question, and we'll finish the 6-pack.
From the 6-0, did the presence of Luther Burden affect Wingo's decision?
I highly doubt that. Because, even if you're Wingo and you're thinking, Burden staying next year, and that's going to impact him. My freshman year, if he doesn't redshirt, and I don't think he will. I mean, he's a 5-star recruit. It's unlikely to. You'd still have the offense right there at your disposal a year from now. And why wouldn't you want to play with a guy like Luther Burden too? If you're thinking about winning and playing at this level, playing with other talents in the SEC that can help you win games, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Because Burden will be gone soon. He'll be an NFL player, and then it could have been Wingo's time. So, and if you missed it earlier, Ryan Wingo decided to go to Texas and not Mizzou. He made that announcement about an hour ago. So disappointing, but again, I'll maintain that the young man can choose wherever he wants to go. Unlike Jamie.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine, Jamie.
No, it isn't.
We'll do the rest of the 6-pack next on 101 ESPN.
question.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
All right, time for the remainder of the remaining three questions for the Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Go ahead, Marsh.
Question number 4.
All right, gentlemen, following his performance against the Lions, is Lamar Jackson now the MVP frontrunner?
I would say yes. Who else would you have up there besides Mahomes?
Yeah.
Tyreek? I think Tyreek should at least be considered.
Yeah. I go back to Tua. Like, what are his numbers?
His numbers are outstanding.
Yeah.
But
I know we overlook him because he's got Tyreek.
Yeah. And for me, if it's going to go to a Dolphin, it probably should go to Tyreek. Because I think that Tua, as good as he has been the ultimate facilitator. You know, he's a point guard in that system. Brock Purdy is a point guard in San Francisco's system, and they both operate the offense. They both operate it very well. Lamar is the point guard, the offense, the everything. He's not just a facilitator. He's also somebody that I think elevates that offense. And Todd Monken's play calling and the structure, the system overall, has been a good fit for Lamar. I really think Lamar has played a lot better than people realized. And then last Sunday, he was like, oh, wow, yeah, here we go. He had a breakout performance. I thought it had been building. You know, he's got to cut down the turnovers. He's got to cut down on some of the sloppy play inside the red zone. And then you will see those eye-popping numbers. But I think he's on his way. I think he's been the best player in the league. The MVP. He's the most valuable player in the league.
I'm good with that.
Question number 5.
From the 314, should we expect more out of Jordan Walker next season after seeing what Corbin Carroll is capable of doing?
I don't think we should compare Jordan Walker to Corbin Carroll. I don't think we should compare Jordan Walker to Ronald Acuna or Ozzie Albies or Julio Rodriguez. I think that is where we get into trouble, i.e. Colton Parayko. I think when we start to compare players to others because there's a little bit of a comp and somebody gets asked, hey, what's the comp for this player? And it's like, his game kind of reminds me what. And then we as sports fans, and I'm including us in this, we take it too far. But I do like, to the texter's point, I think you nailed the first part of that. Should we expect more? Absolutely. This is somebody that has showed 20, 21 years old that he can handle playing in the big leagues full time. So expecting him to improve upon what he did because he's got the talent, yes, absolutely. But I don't think Corbin Carroll and his performance in the postseason should have anything to do with Jordan Walker. Where are you on that, Jamie?
In lockstep with you. Everything you just said was exactly what I was thinking at the same time. So I agree. I think it's natural that we should expect more from a young player. And I think Jordan Walker will expect more of himself moving forward. But to compare players is just, and not only is it unfair, it's irrelevant to the situation because do you just every year just pick a player to compare him to? That's not very fair.
Right.
So let's just worry about Jordan Walker developing his own style of play and creating his own successes. But let's continue to mandate or expect him to continue to move the needle forward to be better every season.
Question number 6.
From the 618, do you guys still think the Dolphins are a Super Bowl contender after their performance against the Eagles on Sunday?
So here's the thing. I never considered them, I shouldn't say never, because I maybe when we did the tier, maybe I included them at one point. But and guys, correct me if I'm wrong on this, call me out, but I have maintained that while I was picking the Dolphins to win the AFC East at the start of the season, when we did all our predictions, I said the Dolphins are my pick for the AFC East. I have always maintained that team, the deeper the season goes, the worse they'll get. Speed teams typically are like that. Now, if they get better defensively, it might change my mind. But teams that win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl really have three components: strong quarterback play, strong defensive play, and the ability to salt clock when they have a lead. The Dolphins have a good quarterback. The defense isn't there, and I wonder about the system that they run being able to salt away leads, or salt away clock, he keeps saying that, salt away clock when they have the lead. I don't think they have all three components. I think they're a playoff team. I think they'll win the division, but they're going to run up into a defensive line in the playoffs, Jamie, that I think is going to give them trouble. Whether that is Kansas City, whether that is Baltimore, whether that is whoever, even Jacksonville. Then I think the Dolphins are going to be exposed. But they're a hell of a team.
Yeah, I think they're a hell of a team. But I think that they've proven, if nothing else, that they can be beaten.
Sure.
And watching Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and looking at the Chiefs' defense, how impressive they have been, and then watching Lamar and the Ravens continue to just kind of trend upward, it's pretty tough for me to sit here and say that the Dolphins are still the Super Bowl candidate or to win it all when I don't even think they'll get out of their conference, for that matter. So, yeah, no, I don't think that they're a favorite.
I wouldn't call it a league because I guess level would be the right word to use. Which level of football right now has the most parity? Do you think it's the NFL or do you think it's college football?
I think it's the NFL. Yeah, I think it's the NFL. Now, when you're looking at teams that could actually win it, that list is probably right around where the list is for college football. But during the regular season, you're still going to get 5, 6, 7 teams in the NFL that a lot of people think, oh, well, they catch enough breaks, they could potentially win it. I think in college football, as much parity as there is, college football has a formula too. And when you get into the playoffs and you got to face Alabama or Georgia or some of these top teams in the SEC, it gets a little tricky depending on what style you play. Washington and Oregon would have trouble with any team out of the SEC, any of the top teams out of the SEC, just like Oklahoma used to have all those problems. Oklahoma would rack up all these numbers, and we would fall in love with the offense, and then all of a sudden that offense gets shut down and the defense is exposed. So, the formula for college football, I think, is similar in what I just broke down with the NFL. That's kind of where I'm at with that. But what about hockey, Jamie? You think there's a lot of parity in hockey right now?
Oh, yeah. I think right now the NHL, for the last handful of years, has had a tremendous amount of parity. That's your team that's completely tanking. Mm-hmm. I mean, on a basis, you have upsets all the time. And if you look at some of the teams that just narrowly get in the playoffs, they do damage. The Florida Panthers just got in by 1 point last year, went to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
So, I think the NHL right now currently has very good parity, and that's what they were trying to establish when they brought in the salary cap and all that. Now,
sure.
Do I think that the salary cap has moved at a pace that's a little too slow compared to other sports? Yeah, probably. But still, guys are making good money, and the league is creating a lot of revenue, and it's fun to watch. On a nightly basis, for the most part, you don't really know who's going to win, and that's fun.
That's Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. It's Fastline on 101 ESPN. We got your Build Your Sleeper Team results. So Jamie won the first week, I won the second, Marsh won last week. So somebody's going to take a lead after this past weekend. Plus, we got the biggest question of the day next on 101 ESPN.
Fellas, if getting old for you is wearing on you, you're not alone out there. And, it's inevitable that father time kicks in and you're going to be more tired, more run down, less focused, all these things. And it's probably due to low testosterone. And it happens to men of all ages. It's, like I said, it's inevitable. One way to stop that, one way to feel better is to visit our friends over at Mentality. Anthony, you and I both are Mentality clients, and we're both thrilled with the results, but what about the process for us?
Process was easy, Jamie. Process was just going down there. And then, Jamie, you did that first, and then you took me down there, and it was easy for us. You sit down, you talk to their specialists, and you tell them what's going on. They're going to ask you questions like, how have you been feeling of late? And you just be honest. For Jamie and I, we were struggling with a busy schedule and also maintaining what we wanted to maintain with our lives, whether it's working out or, stuff around the house, and you're drained all the time. And you could go one of two ways. You say, well, that's just how it is when you get older, or you could do something about it like Jamie and I did. And we visited Mentality, and they've been fantastic. And you get on their program, and it's easy. And all of a sudden, you start feeling a lot better. You start feeling like you did when you were younger. So it's really up to you. Do you want to do something about the struggle or not? Because for Jamie and I, we did something about it.
Yeah, we sure did. And there's absolutely no excuse for anybody out there not to go by and check them out. It's covered by most insurance companies as well. So please visit either location. Tell them that Anthony and Jamie sent you in. And if you can't visit them in person, visit them online at lowtusa.com. Again, that's Mentality at lowtusa.com.
.101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues taking on the Flames tomorrow. Pregame starts at 7. Puck drop is at 8. The Blues looking to bounce back after a loss to the Jets last night, 4-2. We talked earlier today with Craig Berube and Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic. If you missed any of those interviews, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Diamondbacks Diamondbacks defeated the Phillies last night in Game 7 of the NLCS. 4-2 the final. The Rangers will host the Diamondbacks on Friday, Game 1 of the World Series. Once again, if you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or use the free 101 mobile app. That's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Sports Center update is brought to you by
Saliga
Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
All right, before we get into the biggest question of the day in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, Marsh has tallied up the scores from the Build Your Sleeper team. We did this last Friday. We've done this the last couple of Fridays. Jamie won the first week. I won the second. Marsh won last week. And Marsh, Jamie, you're in Calgary right now, so you don't know. But Marsh was feeling very confident that he won this week. But let's get the results, because I don't know. I don't know one way or another.
Let's look at these results. So, Jamie, you were well prepared on Friday for this. Unfortunately, you came in third place. 39.1 points.
Who do you have?
He had Baker Mayfield.
Shaky Bakey.
16.2. A.J. Dillon, 11.5. Drake London, 11.4.
Now you got double digits on everybody.
Not terrible.
No.
Solid week.
Yeah.
But not better than Anthony and myself.
Ooh.
Okay, whatever.
In first place with 47.16. Everybody give a round of applause for Anthony Stalter.
Oh, really?
Wow.
No kidding.
Geno Smith, 13.76.
Ouch.
Kareem Hunt, 15.1. Josh Palmer, 18.3 points.
Okay.
I had Jordan Love.
Guy there.
Yeah. Palmer had a good one against the Chiefs.
I had Jordan Love.
Took Jordan Love from me.
I did, yeah. He got 15.3, so actually Baker did better than him. So I guess that's what I get for stealing your player.
So who else did you have?
I had Jackson Smith in Jigba, 16.3, and Jalen Warren, 10.1 for 41.7. So Jamie and I were closer in scores than I was to you, Anthony. So you had a pretty good week, and now you lead.
Thank you. I got the mantle right now. Got the 2 wins. For Jamie and I, neither of us took Alec Boehm, who was the first one who hit the home run last night in the Phillies Diamondbacks game. So we're going to the World Series now. Our tie still remains for the Home Run Derby Challenge. And on Friday, Jamie, we're up to what, 4 players now on each team? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, 4 players on each team. We got to end this thing.
I think,
come on.
If it gets to a point where you guys just aren't connecting on it, maybe you just flip a coin and each one of you pick a team, and whoever hits a home run first from that team wins.
It's not a bad way to do it, but let's give Jamie and I at least one more chance.
We'll give you some runway.
Or several chances, you know?
I don't like the flipping the coin thing. I want to feel like I picked the guy.
Yeah. Even though we picked half the roster now.
Even if it's 6 or 7 guys, I want to feel like
you still picked. I picked them. Yeah. All right, time for the biggest question of the day.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
All right, gentlemen. Biggest question of the day. We talked about the World Series. We just brought it up because you two simply cannot pick a player to hit a home run.
Well, we hold on. We picked a ton during the Cardinals regular season. We're just unfamiliar with these rosters.
What are we, FC Cincinnati or Cincinnati FC? What are we doing here? No regular season awards.
That's a good call, Marsh.
Question I have for you two. Does the Diamondbacks World Series berth reinforce the Cardinals' spending habits?
Ugh.
Oh, Anthony, you put this in, you gave this life.
Tell me you didn't think about it. Tell me you didn't think about it. The Diamondbacks advance. Nobody had them. Nobody had them finishing the 3rd in the NL West, let alone winning the NL pennant.
Yeah.
So it goes right to the just get in and see what happens. Tell me you didn't think about it. Come on.
I actually hadn't thought about the payroll at all. I thought about, the underdog and the team that wasn't supposed to be any good. I did not think about the payroll until you said it. And then it hit me in the face like Thor's hammer, Anthony.
Like a...
Right in your face. Right in your face with Thor.
Right in the face.
Yeah.
Thor's huge hammer hit me right in the face.
It did. Knocked you over.
Yep.
Wow. And it went right back to him, too.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah. Yeah, after the Cardinals, and you've been spewing that just get in crap, the Diamondbacks kind of validated that for you. Now the Texas Rangers didn't, because the Texas Rangers spent. So you could go one of two ways here. But in all seriousness, Jamie, I really have to believe that with the way that the season unfolded for the Cardinals last year, you finished in last place in the NL Central when you were expected to win the Central. Remember, the conversation was, well, yeah, they're going to have enough pitching to make a run in the postseason. Probably not. Going to have to use the trade deadline. Instead, you traded everybody at the deadline because you were awful. With all the red seats that were at Busch Stadium, save for Waino's weekend, I think that this front office has got to be aggressive when it comes to the payroll this offseason. I don't see any other way around it. Even if you were to say, look at the Diamondbacks, look at what they did, you still don't have three pitchers in your starting rotation right now. So, is it going to be a perfect offseason? Is it going to be one we're asking for? Is it going to be one we're all hoping for? Probably not. It's going to be some version of that, because they're going to have to spend to add to this starting rotation. So, that's where I'm at on this.
I agree with you, Anthony. I think that the Cardinals organization has felt a certain level of embarrassment that this ownership group and front office has not felt ever before. Mm-hmm. And I think that they'll take into consideration that there's still probably value in certain players that they bring in the offseason, meaning that they'll pay a little less for a guy that they think they can coach up or use in a certain way. But I don't think that's going to be the strategy overall. I think they are going to swing for the fences. Now, again, whether they get that player or not, sometimes that has nothing to do with the organization. Sometimes it has everything to do with the player. But I do feel like the Cardinals will look to spend and add, like legitimately add to their payroll. But they'll also, sticking in theme, which is just good business, trying to find value and other players that they can bring in that will still improve the roster. So I think it'll be a mixed bag of both, but I don't think the Diamondbacks strategy or the A's or the Brewers or any of those strategies that you want to take from teams that barely spend, I don't think that's going to be number one on the list for the Cardinals.
No, nor should it. No. So we'll see.
Can't
but,
be.
I agree with you, too. I agree with you, Jamie. I think you bring up a really good point in that it should be a mixture of both. You shouldn't just bring in the high-priced free agents. I think it should be a mixture of guys that maybe the market is sleeping on that can improve your club. A mixture of the guys that you're going to give 4 or 5 year deals to, and also the 1 year pillow deal for a guy that wants to rehab his trade value. That's how you get, if you do it right and you pick the right player, that's how you get a Cody Bellinger for a year. That's how you get a Carlos Rodon for a year. 2 years ago, the Carlos Rodon 2 years ago. I don't mind that strategy at all. And I'm hoping that they're also active in the international market for down the road, too, because that is still a market that I think the Cardinals have, quite frankly, failed on. Whether they failing to even bring those guys in or high upside international free agents, I think that's a market that's untapped for the Cardinals that has been fantastic for. Yeah.
On international free agents?
They shouldn't. That's what I'm saying. I think they should.
I know.
Yeah, they should have urgency to it. Yeah, you're right. They've given up on it.
They've given up on a couple.
They're like, we got Michaelis. What else do you want? Hey, we got Michaelis. What, you want more of those guys?
Hey, what do you guys, how do you feel about the narrative or the thought that, that because Yachty wants to be involved and Yachty will be involved or whatever it is, how do you feel about that, feeling like the Cardinals Like Yachty, there's no way he would come and sign here to coach if he didn't know or think that John Mozeliak in the front office were going to put together a good team.
So unfortunately, you know what I think of when you say that? And I know it's not
exactly where you're.
It's not your thought. It's you're throwing it. You're throwing out there from others. So what do you think I'm thinking of?
Nolan Arenado.
Correct. That's what I'm thinking. You had the conversation. That was the narrative last year. It was a narrative last year. Oh, why wouldn't Arenado come back if he wasn't made some assurances? And then the Cardinals got into the market and did completely, underestimated the money that was going to be thrown around or needed to be thrown around to even get into some of these deals.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arenado's playing for last place team. So I think that's all it is just a narrative. It's a nice little cute, Yachty wouldn't just come back here if there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees you're going to get Noel or any of these stud pitchers.
No, I understand that. I totally agree. But don't you think that if you're bringing in Yachty, like the sole purpose of bringing in someone like Yachty is to work with the pitching staff and the catchers, right? That would be, for me, primarily, that would be the thought process. Like, I'm not going to have Yachty out there working with the outfielders.
Right.
Or shagging ground balls at shortstop. So he's going to be working with the pitching staff and the catchers. Your two biggest areas of need, because Wilson Contreras had a good offensive season, but, he's still viewed as a less than par defensive catcher.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly he's viewed as a guy who doesn't call a good game from time to time.
Yeah.
So if you got Yachty coming in for that, you got to imagine that they're going to Yachty probably would say to Mo, hey, listen, you have to at least get me some pitchers, though. You can't make me sit here trying to make chicken salad out of chicken poo.
Right.
Like
my reputation's on the line, too.
100%. So I feel like there could be some pressure. Now, again, it comes down to, can they execute? Can they sign those guys? Will those guys come to St. Louis? I don't know, but I still feel like they're going to have to try and do something to improve it, especially if Yachty's attached to it. Or Yachty will just walk.
Yeah, I would phrase it this way, Jamie. Everything you just said, I would hope so. I would hope that Yachty wouldn't come back and the Cardinals, knowing that the Cardinals are just going to go internal options at the start, with their starting staff.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Because Yachty will go, I know what your internal options are.
Right.
No.
Yep.
The answer's no.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. We have criticisms and compliments of what you missed next on 101 ESPN. Fastlane on 101 ESPN. If you missed anything from today's show, you can download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Part of the show today was just talking to Craig Berube. We talked to him about some of the changes that might be coming up for tomorrow night's game against Calgary. We also discussed that with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider with The Athletic, along with JR's piece on Doug Armstrong and his 1,000th game last night for the Blues, and some of the interesting aspects of his tenure here in St. Louis. Did some Blues cues, broke down last night's game in a variety of ways, highlighted by the offensive zone possession and shots on goal. Jamie had some good thoughts on the power play and Jake Neighbors. Is this World Series matchup between the Diamondbacks and Phillies, is it good for Major League Baseball? Had that conversation. Prophecies, and, well, sounded good at the time, and did a version of the NFL 4 downs, and also did prove me wrong, where Jamie and I felt it pretty good today. So that's all available in the podcast. Yeah, maybe the judge is a little. He was in a good mood today. We got the right judge today, Jamie.
Yeah.
I'd like to think we excelled today, Anthony.
Yeah, good call. Maybe it's a little both. All right, Marsh, what do you got for criticisms and compliments?
Yeah, from the 636, you blankers rocked again today.
Thank you. Yeah, I like that.
Right. Thanks, Mom.
I like the use of blankers.
Yeah, I mean,
that your mom uses.
The 636 didn't say blankers.
Oh.
But it was something similar.
I like it, though. I'm glad that they didn't use blankers, quite frankly.
Yeah. From the 309, and this was in reference to you two, I guess eviscerating would be a good word, the texter that was upset about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It said, "I wish this segment was uncensored. LOL."
Hey. Us too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in case you missed it, you can download the podcast, but Jamie caught wind of a texter who texted it in that didn't like how Jamie and I were talking about how Taylor Swift is clearly and only in this relationship with Travis Kelce for his fame and his fortune. That's all she's after. And this texter called us misogynistic.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Said that we would not talk about how sexist we were. You won't say it. So we had to gently remind this person that we were, of course, only kidding, and only somebody that's out of their bleeping mind would think that Taylor Swift was in this for Travis Kelce's fame and fortune when she could do a half of a concert, maybe even one song, and make everything he does an entire year or contract.
Oh, yeah.
For that matter.
Oh, yeah. And she can't walk the streets anywhere in the world, yet I see pictures of Travis Kelce in the store and things like that around Kansas City where people are not flooding to him. So, yeah. It's the irony in all of it is truly locked into the sarcasm.
Well said, Jamie. One of the most eloquent things that you have ever said on these airwaves.
I blacked out. What happened?
Way to say it with your chest, Jamie.
Yeah, way to say it with your chest.
This is from the 618. Okay. This show is something. LOL. With Jamie out of town, I mean, the Gauntlet was just a disaster.
That was education on the fly. And we'll have to figure out something for tomorrow, I guess. Or no, I won't be on tomorrow. Will I?
Yeah, you're on tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You're on tomorrow from like 3 to 5 or something.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Dan McLaughlin is in for the entire show, just in case there's any issues. But so Dan will be here, and Jamie will be joining us at some point, somehow, at some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure out this Gauntlet thing. We'll figure it out somehow.
Pancake breakfast. We do it every month. He'll be here.
He'll be good.
Yes, we do.
This is from Chris on the YouTube page, all brought to you by Air Alliance Team. We appreciate everyone that tunes in on the YouTube page. Chris said, imagine a segment where we read all of the YouTube comments straight through. I don't know if we could do that.
Boy. Yeah, that'd be interesting. We'd have to clean it up.
Well, yeah, that's exactly where I'm going with it. There are a few though on the YouTube page that I believe, just my opinion from reading some of the comments, they've become best friends.
That's pretty cool.
It's a community of Fast Lane listeners on YouTube.
Yeah, I do. I love it.
So shout out to all the YouTube friends that were with us today.
Beautiful.
From the 636, Anthony, you must have said something from Major League 2. I wrote it down. Oh, man, Stalter quoting Major League 2 is an amazing callback.
Thank you. Yeah, that was I got you an outfielder.
What's his name? That's right.
Yeah, that was Dorn as he became like the GM of the team. Remember, he retired and became the GM. And so I didn't trade Parkman outright. I got you an outfielder. He used to play for the Giants. And then our guy, Lou Brown, looked at him and said some name, like Jackson. He goes, not those Giants. Great part.
Speaking of GMs, from the 636, I feel like Mo just lost a bet and is getting hazed by the other GMs. And that is in reference to our pal, our buddy.
Yeah. Buddy Kennedy.
Buddy Kennedy.
The newest Cardinal. The first edition. Might be the only one. You never know with Mo.
No, Anthony, stop.
Okay.
Stop.
All right. I'll stop. I'll stop being mean. You're right.
It's not fair yet.
You're right.
Give it a while.
He's gonna have an active offseason. Okay? He will. He's gonna have an active offseason.
Off to a hot start for sure. From the 636, just love the slander from our hometown radio station on the zoo. LOL, what a joke.
There's no slander. What are you talking about? There's no slander.
That was Anthony.
There's zero slander.
Anthony had the hook 'em horns thing going up. It was disgusting.
No, I didn't. I did not.
Well, you certainly didn't.
I was saying I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. First of all, it's not my decision, which was my point.
Oh, here you go again with the decision.
It's the young man's decision. He can go where he wants.
This isn't your son, Anthony.
This reminds me, by the way, of when Ezekiel Elliott decided to go to Ohio State and everybody started crushing him. He was a kid. Worked out pretty well, by the way, and he's still from St. Louis, so it's not like, we got to be upset about it. Just stop it.
I don't know why this topic has gotten you so sensitive.
I don't know why it's gotten you sensitive.
You're guarded on it. Like, you refuse to take a stance. It's the young man's decision. Like, that's all I hear.
It is my stance.
Since when?
I'm not going to crush him because he didn't choose Mizzou. It's his decision. What sort of controlling blank bag is going to crush a kid for making a decision? That's his decision.
I'll do it. I don't like his decision.
I'm the blank bag.
I'll do it. I don't like his decision. And you know what? It's my choice to not like his decision, Anthony.
Fair.
Okay?
Last one here for you guys from the 636. Jamie, you sound better from Canada. Love you all.
Oh, thank you.
Boy, that was a compliment wrapped in a criticism, I think.
Pretty much.
That's
probably.
what, guys.
Basically, stay away.
That's what we call
a crap sandwich.
A crap sandwich, that's right. I think that was an open-faced crap sandwich. All right, for Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. We appreciate you listening, watching today's show. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. See ya.